It says here that I'm live. Okay. So big day today. We got set 17 PBE. Before that, of course, I want to watch cinematic, then we'll watch Death Drop and the Mordog video. And then... we'll play some TFT. Let me just check something real quick. Okay, it is live. Cool. I don't know how this shit works. I didn't stream it forever. Anyway, let's watch the cinematic. Chonk. Bard Nami. I don't know who that is. Oops. Should probably do that, huh? Oh my god, my internet is so fucking slow. Wow. Okay, there we go. I like the god theme. Okay, so. Oh my god, what the fuck? Please. I like the Aurelian Soul. Going gods at the end. Cool. Cool cinematic. Now, let's look at the dev drop. Jesus fuck.
Long before the first comp was built, the space gods have watched and waited for their moment. Choose your gods. Your fate is written in the stars.
Matt, what are you doing? We have playtest in 12 minutes.
Oh, my bad. That's a story for another time. Let's play Space Gods.
Space gods, huh?
Welcome to Space Gods, the set that will send you deep into the cosmos, where mortals, that's you, strike deals with celestial beings. Space Gods is a set designed for flexible play, with a return to our traditional roster size, splashable units, and an emphasis on adapting to game states that are controlled by the gods you align yourself with. I'm Noemi, the set lead. The team and I are here to tell you all about our supernatural roster of traits and champions,
Hi,
new
Noemi.
tacticians, arenas, and more.
Realms of the gods.
I'll make sure we wait for you to get back to your desk before we start the lobby.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
But what's the point? He's just gonna open for anyways.
Less appreciated. Hey, folks. I'm Philip, lead designer on the set mechanic. In Space Gods, there is no carousel. There is only the realm of the gods.
No carousel.
At the start of the game, 2 of our 9 gods will appear, greeting you and letting you know early on just what space gods are contending for power. That's important because instead of carousel, you'll be selecting an offering from one of the gods, and a less powerful generic one from Pengu, who's a god in our eyes, to say the least. In the realm of the gods, you'll be able to participate in drama on a galactic scale, choosing which god is your favorite. But I'd recommend choosing based on how helpful their offerings are for your game plan.
Okay.
Once you've chosen your god and offering, you'll also get their relic, which represents your fealty and follows you around, letting other players know to whom you've made your allegiance. And regardless of who you picked as your favorite, we've always got good old Pengu to provide a more generic, yet lower power reward, who'll be guaranteed for everyone, regardless of whichever god they choose. The Realm of the Gods allows you to power up the way you want, all while witnessing and partaking in a game of sycophantic favoritism. But what's the point in picking favorites and creating conflict if there's no resolution to our celestial drama?
Fuck, my headphones are empty. What the fuck, man? What the fuck?
Enter the 4-7 boon selection. This is where whichever god you've been choosing the most will come to your board with an armory, similar to the Treasure Dragon of Dragonlands, except with offerings that are thematically tied to that god's personality.
Okay.
They're boon, in addition to some other, more general rewards. Each of our gods has a unique blessing they'll grant to their followers, whether that's Yasuo's, which further upgrades his hexes, or Aurelian Soul's, whose boon offers you a selection of quests with powerful rewards.
Okay, what the fuck is wrong with my audio, man? Ah. Okay, I fixed my fucking headphones. I hope.
And even after you've picked your boon, your faith will be continually rewarded, with your favorite god returning to their devout followers' boards to provide loot on occasion for the remainder of the game.
Okay.
So many teams came together to make this mechanic possible, so let's get more dev in this drop and invite Isaac, our set art lead, to tell us some more.
When we heard about
So no carousel, we choose gods. Looks like augments with extra steps. There is also a treasure dragon. Not bad.
the realm of the gods, our gears immediately began turning. What would the gods look like? How many should there be? What should their personalities be like?
And how could we pair all of Art's ideas with the design of the mechanic in a way that feels exciting for players?
Exactly. Art took the lead here in deciding which champions would be our gods. We knew we didn't want a lot of overlap with the set's units, and we wanted to use champions that have a distinct lane of personality and cosmic power. One of the first gods the art team landed on is Soraka. Her illustration is just gorgeous and convinced a lot of the team that this was a great direction to move in.
I was certainly convinced. And once we had her look and personality in front of us, the design team got to work on benevolent offerings. For Soraka, that meant HP, both for your units and your tactician.
Yasuo was another one we decided on pretty early. He's dark, brooding, and all edge.
With that attitude, Yasuo became all about skillful positioning, offering hexes that empower the unit on them in spacey ways, with stats, utility, and more.
We couldn't just have one edgy god with Yasuo, we also had to have Evelyn.
I love Eve because she represents such a powerful player experience.
Being lured in by risky power?
Yup.
Yep,
Eve
that's
offers
Evelyn.
powerful rewards that may or may not match your board, like completely random.
We are back. Oh my god, I have so many issues. Should have prepared things before I went live. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Now I should be all set.
Random emblems.
But art didn't just work on creating gods for our mechanic, they also created life, with a summon that is bespoke and newly evergreen to TFT, similar to how Koboko was during Inkborn Fables. Bia, the baby, and Bayan, the mom, are TFT summons that'll be debuting with our Shepherd trait. Summon
Also,
just Bia
Dorda.
to your board at the first breakpoint, then call upon Mama to join, and power up together at the final breakpoint, if you can get your
Okay.
hands on a Shepherd emblem.
Pray to Evelyn.
So that's the summon of the trade. Oh, the set, huh? Race and champions. Didn't we just see
With
trade?
Space Gods, we set out to space with a dynamic, fun, and celestial roster, distributed across the universe, but also a trait web that took what we loved and learned from the flexibility and excitement of past sets.
Okay, good to
So
hear.
why don't we start out with a trait that almost all our Space Gods love? Space Groove.
Space Groove.
With their Starlight Boogie, Groovians can enter the groove, gaining attack speed and health regen. But each unit has its own special way to get their groove on. One cost Teemo enters the groove whenever he puts enough Shroom Boom poison on an enemy champion, but he'll need to attack and stack fast.
Okay.
4 cost Nami tosses disco bubbles at her targets, briefly entering the groove on cast. And then, there's Space Groove's legendary unit, Blitzcrank, and their pit crew
5 cost
Puppers.
Blitzcrank?
Once Blitz falls below a certain health threshold, they'll take a beat to repair. After a top off of oil and bork bites, they'll re-enter the fight and the groove as they passively fire off zaps and create tragic mishaps, uppercutting their target into the moon. Wait, that's no moon. That's a space disco ball.
Okay.
Opposite to the disco glow is the light-consuming black hole that the Darkstar trait creates.
Darkstar is
As
back,
you feed
huh?
your black hole enemies, it will empower your units. If you're a fan of finger guns, well, you're in luck, because Jin is taking those literally and cosmically.
Jin is back.
Almost godlike with his ability.
What the
Jin's
fuck?
the high spectacle legendary unit of Darkstar, whose galactic finale looks kinda like this.
Okay, Jin looks
And
cool as
exploring those
fuck.
stars, dark, supergiants, dwarves, and the likes, is our lighthearted Meeple trait. Meeple brings a whole
Meeple.
lot of units and a whole lot of meeps, which will strengthen your abilities. Field more Meeples, acquire more meeps. Simple as that. The 5 cost for Meeple, Bard, summons a UFO, which stands for Ultra Friendly Object, that'll deal magic damage per second. Deal enough damage, and you might even beam up an enemy unit.
Okay.
All right,
cool.
Major Tom, let's get to a high-stakes trait that's certain to leave ground control and chaos.
Okay.
Anima gathers tech after each combat, more on kills, and even more the higher your loss streak. You can cash out your tech for Anima Squad weapons to use on any unit. Weapons like Battle Buddy
Any
Crossbow,
unit.
which will fire a cone of arrows at enemies if you can get enough crits off. Or the Yumi Bot, which heals the wearer and attaches to nearby friends upon the holder's death. Anything for chin scratches, I suppose.
Any unit,
While they're
huh?
good on anyone, these weapons, and Cat, often have specific users that they're the best on, like Rocket Swarm on Jinx. And even if you deactivate Anima, your items will stick around.
Oh, that's cool. That's interesting.
Anima's not the only trait using tech that you'll encounter in Space Gods. The Mecha trait will transform Urgot, Aurelian Soul, and Galio into their ultimate mecha forms, granting them stats and enhanced abilities.
Okay, that's cool.
Once they're mech'd, they'll take up 2 slots and count twice for the Mecha's trait. And
Mech is
unlike
back.
our Space Gods, our time is short. So before it runs out, I've got to mention our splashable resource generation trait, Timebreaker. Activate at just 2 Timebreaker, and the trait will give you rerolls when you lose, and XP stored in a temporal core when you win. Once you activate 3 Timebreaker, in addition to its earlier effects, all your allies will gain bonus attack speed.
Okay.
Timebreaker takes learnings from the flex play we love so much in Lore and Legends. Splash just 2 in early to fuel your econ, or use the 3-piece as the backbone to any 1 or 2 cost reroll line. As you
Okay.
familiarize yourself with the set, you'll notice many 2-piece classes and other origins with breakpoints for each additional unit you add. I've covered just a few of our major origins, but in Space Gods, you'll also be able to overwhelm your enemies with baby swarmlings via Primordian, chart constellations of empowered hexes with Stargazer,
Okay,
and
nice.
deal powerful signature attacks with Nova.
No.
And moving past traits, we've also got a few threat-like units that you can utilize into
Thank
many
you.
end or mid-game boards.
Oops.
Graves, for one, is a build-your-own unit, allowing you to constantly purchase upgrades, unlocking tech trees for customization in
What
the process.
fuck?
And Sona creates commands that buff her allies by telling them what to do and how to do it.
Okay.
Gun Goddess Misfortune will let you choose between 3 unique traits, similar to KO Coliseum's Lee Sin, but as a 3-cost.
3 costs? What the
Misfortune
fuck?
isn't the only low-cost threat-like unit. We've also got utility tanks like Rost and Tom Kench at 3 and 4 gold respectively to pad out the front line for any comp flexing on the fly. 2 more trade-agnostic 5-cost to end things with.
Okay.
Vex and Shen.
Vex 5 cost. Shen
Vex is an
5
attack speed focused hyper carry that'll slap
Wait,
your
wait,
foes
wait, wait, wait. Vex is attack speed? What the? What?
around without a shadow of a doubt. But with shadow, no doubt. While Shen is a bastion who will tear through reality by opening a rift, slowing enemies and accelerating allies' attacks. Alright, I've got a playtest.
Okay. This looks
Now,
interesting.
over to Valentine to talk illustration.
Illustrate painting gods.
So we had a very specific style in mind for the Space Gods that shows off a more traditional style of painting than we've typically seen on TFT.
Traditional
There's
style.
no perfect blending, but we obsessed over like things like brushstrokes and texture, and hopefully as you look closer at these, you'll notice those little details too. The lack
Looks
of
nice.
perfect blending is sort of a reflection of our gods too. They're iconic, larger than life characters, none of whom are perfect, but I mean, we kind of love them for that, right? When we were looking at a champion for the God of Time, most of the team immediately thought of Zillion because he's old, he's godlike,
Yeah.
he's got a big flock on his back.
That's it.
But
man.
using Zillion as our time god would have just been using Zillion. And for our Space God roster, we wanted to elevate existing characters into hyperbolic but flawed godhood. Let me show you what I mean with Echo, the God of Time.
Echo from Arcane.
Echo's a tricky character because we already know him from so many different places. Arcane,
Yep.
True Damage, and he's my favorite air-hopping, time-winding champion in 2x KO. So bringing the kid into godliness meant lowering the volume on his emotions in trade of a more stoic, somber, and experienced version of our boy genius. No longer a boy, but still begrudgingly a genius.
Time genius.
The way Echo's powers manifest in League is with an after image, allowing him to chrono break back in time. But our god version of him has versions that aren't just backwards in time, but also forwards.
Okay.
We've got Kid Echo in the back trying to grasp the hourglass that present Echo has control over, while the one in the foreground is an older version of Echo. Then it was adding time motifs to show Echo more as time itself, Roman numerals on the clock behind him creating a halo effect, and circular shapes throughout that are all indicative of time. Meanwhile, the golden markings on his skin elevate Echo to make him feel almost ethereal, while also being natural to himself in his color and style. As you play, we hope that you have time to pick up on the little things like this that make each god unique.
Hopefully I will.
Thanks for stopping by. Now I'll beam you over to our other team of artists in Singapore.
Gods. Okay, the art looks good. Don't know what cosmetics. I don't really care about that, but it's like what, 2 more minutes.
Hi
It's
everyone,
fine.
I'm João, representing the Singapore team that works on all the cosmetic content you see in TFT. Before we blast off with Space Gods, I wanted to highlight one very special Unbound, entering the
Garen.
convergence for the final patch of Lore and Legends.
Oh my god, Pengu
You've
Garen.
heard of Spin to Win, but with Pengu Garen Unbound, let me introduce you to Spin to Win.
Okay, that's
Alright.
cool.
Back to our release patch of Space Gods. We've got 2 Unbounds coming for you at the start of the set,
Jin?
starting with the Bringer of Ruin and Darkness.
Oh, Mordekaiser, I've seen this.
Darkstar Mordekaiser Unbound
I've seen
will
this,
unmake
holy
the
shit.
universe.
That looks badass.
And your lobby if you're lucky, especially with an all-new dual form boom. After reaching level 7, this boom will unleash a full-screen Mordekaiser
What
ult
the
on your
fuck is
enemies.
that, man?
Then there's Chosen of the Wolf Katarina Unbound, whose look and blades are truly lethal. Watch out for those daggers, they look sharp. Too late. On the cuter
Looks
end of
cool.
the spectrum, we've got our Chibis, of course. Chibi Star Guardian Syndra Spheres will pile on with the damage. And on the eviler side of things, we've got Prestige Star Nemesis Morgana. Pair her
Prestige.
with an arena fit for an evil queen.
Damn,
First Star's Lament.
that was good.
Finally, before I fly off, we've got Chibi Battle Bat Zaya making her mark on the convergence.
Chibi's
The only thing missing is yelling, "Feathers fly," as your finisher rips through the lobby. We have a lot more on the way throughout the set, so stay tuned. Enjoy Space Gods with patch 17.1. Till next time.
Okay. Looks interesting. It looks good. Now, let's see and hear what Mordok has to say.
Hey everybody,
Hey
Ryan
Mordok.
Mort here, and it is time for our 17th set TFT Space Gods to hit PBE. By the time you're watching this, it might already be on PBE,
I don't know.
but it is time for another set. Now, that being said, I didn't have time to make a fancy slide deck between work and casting and everything like that. and the fact that I actually don't have my home PC set up right now. So you're getting this little scuffed, but I still figured it was worth going through and
It's
talking
good enough,
through
man.
all the different units and traits and stuff like that.
Don't
So
worry
figured
about
we
it.
could use some of the, external websites that have all the info out there and talk about it. So hopefully you guys find this valuable.
That
But this is still me
that
talking about
that is always valuable. Thank you for doing this.
all the different units, traits, mechanics, and things like that that you can expect for Space Gods as it hits PBE. All right,
Okay.
let's just dive right in because I'm probably going to talk a long time. We're going to start with units. We'll
Yeah.
start with 1 cost and work our way down. Starting off with Aatrox. Now, Aatrox is a Nova Bastion, and as I talk about each Nova unit, there's actually 3 things I have to talk about, okay?
Okay.
There's the champion, there's their passive effect, which you will get 8 seconds, it's like 6 or 8 seconds into combat, as long as you have 2 Nova active, so you can do a lot
Okay.
of really valuable things with their passive. And then if you have 5 Nova active and you choose them as their like primary guy, you get their like big ultimate attack.
Okay.
And so all 3 of those things have to be considered with each Nova champion as we
Okay.
talk about it. So Aatrox, for example, pretty simple tank. He does the heal a little bit and then stab them. Nothing crazy. It's going to remind you of like a Shen or an Alawi from last set where it's like a 2-star Aatrox will be good in stage 2. And
they're
that'll
gonna
be that.
fall off
He's a
quick.
tank. But his Nova passive is really valuable. 8 seconds, 6 or 8 seconds into combat, it gives you Shred and Sunder on all enemy units for the rest of combat.
What the fuck?
So, you don't have to build your like
What
Sparks
the
or Last
fuck?
Whispers. You could get it through having Aatrox. And this is nice because you can often run like Aatrox plus 1 other Bastion for 2 Bastion, which will give you that team-wide, armor and MR, which is
That
always
sounds
valuable.
OP.
So in a way, Aatrox is like a really valuable 1 cost that you'll see in a lot of comps, just for that utility, which is nice. His Nova Ultimate, which you should really only be using if you somehow, like, for example, Build-A-Bud Aatrox, and you got a really strong Aatrox. I don't think you're going to see a lot of reroll Aatrox, but basically
I'll do it, man. I'll play
it hits
real
the whole
Aatrox.
board, knocks them up
Aatrox.
for a little bit, and does damage based on his armor and AD. So if you put a lot of armor
AD.
on him and AD, you can actually go like IE Bramble Vest +1, which is kind of weird. You can hit the whole board for like 500 damage, which can be pretty nice because the effect
Okay.
can crit. But again, that's a weird niche interaction. So yeah, that's Aatrox.
That's very interesting one cost. What the fuck? We are starting off strong.
Briar is basically a champion that you'll use for the traits. Pairs really well for Rogue. 2 Rogue is pretty
Oh my god, rogues are the assassins. Oh, fuck
good.
that.
Anima, obviously, for 3 Anima, which is the Lost Streak trait we'll talk about later. But most importantly, the only time you're really going to be playing Briar as a carry is if you're playing reroll Primordian. Primordian is a 1/1/2 reroll trait that is meant to be played as a reroll trait.
Okay.
You can play it kind of like Yordle in 16, where you kind of just play it for extra econ as an engine. But if you want to do the reroll, you can get that. And so that's where Briar can be pretty strong. Briar's in a weird spot, though, where it's like you're going to have Rek'Sai as your tank, and often you're going to have Belveth as your carry. So Briar's kind of weird in that regard. But again, much like last set, Briar as a 1 cost if you have some good AD items. Playing around Rogue, like I said, you can still use her to kind of carry the early game.
Okay.
All right, Caitlyn. Caitlyn's another Nova champion.
Weaver.
As far as Caitlyn herself, she's a weird champ. You're going to want Ginsu's on her more than just AD. Her attack speed's very, very slow. And the more attacks she gets, the more chances she has at proccing with Fate Weaver. She has no mana. She's a manaless champion.
Okay.
But basically, every time she fires, there's a chance it'll be an empowered headshot, which will do bonus damage. Which is pretty good. So like I said, having Ginsu's means you'll get more shots at that. If you have Fate Weaver active, you'll get more chances at that. But overall, Ginsu's plus Deathblade, pretty common build.
Okay.
Now her Nova passive is attack speed for your whole team, which can be okay. It's really good in the early game. It's not one that I feel like you have to keep in as long, but if you want to, you can. But overall, that is pretty valuable. So, okay, and then obviously her Nova Ultimate. Now again, this is where if you have a Caitlyn 3, for example, which I don't know will be the most common build, but Caitlyn 3 is not bad if you have the right items for her.
We'll see.
You can make it work. And her Nova ultimate, actually what it does is every time an enemy gets low enough, she will fire a headshot at them. So it's actually a good amount of damage. So definitely if you have a 3-star Caitlyn, consider making her your Nova choice. Otherwise, not really worth doing. But if you find yourself with a Caitlyn 3, she's not bad.
We'll see.
All right.
Cho'Gath.
Cho'Gath is kind of a reprint of Set 9 Cho'Gath with a lot more twists.
Well, Set 9
he's the
Cho'Gath.
stacking HP, big bruise brawler that you can get going, right? So if you have an early Cho'Gath 2, or if you can somehow guarantee a Cho'Gath 3, or Build-A-Bud Cho'Gath is obviously going to be very good, he will stack HP. But unlike the last time he was around, it's not just off kills, it's off of casts. So making him tanky early can get you more casts,
okay,
which is really good. So definitely want to have that going. And then the other thing to note here is he's got a lot of value in that he's Darkstar, and 2 Darkstar is going to be a very powerful splash trait with the ability to execute units. 2 Brawler, which is always very popular, we know that. So all of that's really good. So again, this Cho'Gath, I think, if you can get him stacking and get him going, ends up being very powerful, can hit that 10,000 health.
I love stacking
really
HP.
But, late game, he's not going to be somebody you're going to want on your comp. But yeah, that cool stacking Cho'Gath that can get really big. Very fun. And there's also other mechanics in the set, like Yasuo's Cosmic Hex, for example, that can give you even more HP on top of it. So Cho'Gath can definitely be a really scary champion.
Can clear this.
All right. Ezreal. Ezreal is an interesting champion because, much like Cho'Gath, he's a stacking champion. If you get an early Ezreal, build him up, get him to 3-star, every takedown you get will get you building him some drones. So he can actually scale into the late game, which is really good. So if you're looking for a 1-cost reroll, he's pretty good.
Stacking champion.
But the other thing is that even as an opener, he's kind of weak as an opener, but he's a time breaker. And 2 time breaker openers are going to be very popular, and that 2 time breaker is essentially like having a bard on your board. If you win with 2 time breaker, you're going to get an XP that you can sell right away for 1 XP or leave it on your bench, however you want to do it. But if you lose, you get a reroll. And so basically, you can use an Ezreal Timebreaker to fast 8 if you want, which can be pretty good. But otherwise, standard 1-cost AD carry. So, but again, the stacking is the thing that makes him really strong. So if you have good items for him and can win fights, consider playing him and try to snowball. He's definitely a snowball champion. So, all right, Leona. Leona is the most boring, not boring bad, but just she's a standard 1-cost tank. She's tanky.
Fine.
She's got a lot of health. She scales with armor and MR, which it's fine. She's a tank. The reason to consider Leona though is that she's an arbiter. Arbiter is a trait that'll allow you to custom make your own trait, and arbiter, in the right cases, is actually very over budget. So it's very powerful if you have a really good LeBlanc setup, for example. Another thing Arbiter can do is there's actually an output of Arbiter that will spawn more Leonas. So it's actually possible to get Leona 3 very early, or even Leona 4 is definitely something you consider. So something you can do is hit Leona, use Arbiter to hit Leona 3, then move out into a standard Vanguard. So that's pretty cool. And that's what makes her unique, is just her ability to sometimes get 3-starred pretty quick. But yeah, and like I said, she'll enable Arbiter, which we'll talk about later. All right, Lissandra. Lissandra is a 3-trait unit, so she doesn't actually end up being that strong, but her traits are really valuable, so she'll end up on a lot of boards. We already talked about 2 Darkstar. It's going to be an Execute. 3 Shepherd is a very good opener. It's the summon trait of the set. Now, what's interesting is this is the first time in a while the summon has been a class. It's not an origin. But you can do some cool Shepherd openers, much like 3 Noxus opener right now for comparison.
So Shepherd is not a trait, huh? Shepherd is a summon. Okay.
And then Replicator, 2 Replicator is basically a second light double cast. But Replicators definitely want 2 Replicator active just for the ability to spread their damage.
So what, Mage Light?
Which is really good. So all of that to say is that, again, I think you'll see a lot of Lissandra on openers, but don't expect her to necessarily wow you with tons and tons of damage. It's more about her traits that she's enabling. So, and as a 3-trait unit, that's just true. All right. Nasus. Nasus is another 1-cost tank. Not going to do anything too crazy here, but the thing that makes Nasus a little more valuable than the other 1-cost
Nasus.
tanks is Space Groove is a 1-3-5-7. And so
One
just
three
by
five
playing
seven.
Nasus by himself as Space Groove,
1357. That's interesting.
you get some of that passive healing that's built in. So like a 2 Nasus, 2 Vanguard opener, or sorry, 2-star Nasus Vanguard opener, where he has like a Warmogs and something else, can actually be like one of the more insane openers.
Okay.
Basically, he has the highest peak of any of the 1-cost tanks just for that reason. So he can be pretty good. He does fall off pretty hard though. I don't expect you to see like a 3-cost or 3-star Nasus a ton, even as we tune things. But if you want to go the Space Groove line, obviously he's going to be okay, especially because he's trait pairs with Blitzcrank in the late game. But yeah, standard tank. Poppy's pretty similar actually in that regard. You'll play Poppy a lot. Poppy's one of the like lower 1-cost tanks. She's fine. She does her job. She provides an aura every time she casts, so she'll make other tanks good. So she's somebody you want to play if you have like a good like Aatrox plus Poppy opener is I think pretty solid. Obviously she can get into Meeple though. Meeple is one of our pretty easy to play verticals, which we'll talk about later. But Poppy's a good tank. All right. Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai is like the champion you play with Cho'Gath if you're playing Cho'Gath, or Rek'Sai is your Primordian tank that can be the star of that Primordian comp. So again,
So she's
pretty
a
standard
tank,
here.
not fighter.
Tank, heal, keep alive. Nothing crazy as far as Rek'Sai's kit. Just, again, kind of really enables those 2 comps. I think she's generally pretty powerful. So.
Okay.
All right, Talon. Talon's a weird one.
Fucking
Don't
assassin,
sleep on
man.
Talon, but Talon's actually really powerful. You just figuring out his item build's going to be the thing that I think surprises a lot of people. But what Talon does is he stabs the target and they start bleeding, and the bleed takes a long time. It has a pretty high duration.
Okay.
But then he, 30 mana, he'll then jump to a new target that's not bleeding. So he's kind of like the dot mage that you see in a lot of
Blue buff
comps.
Talon.
So what's interesting is if you can give him like an Edge of Night and a lot of damage, he can go around and like get everyone bleeding, and then if you have a pretty good front line, actually do a surprising amount of damage. And the fact he's Rogue has like a built-in Edge of Night effect as well.
Oh, okay.
So he can do a lot. It's really just about keeping him alive so that bleed can do a lot of damage. If he gets targeted, he'll die very quickly. But stacking him up can be pretty good.
Okay, so Rogue, Edge of Night, does that work together? I also thought the Rogue was like assassin.
I like this guy. I think he's very powerful. Again, I like dot mages. And then he also enables Stargazer. So if you've got that Jax and can get a Stargazer opener, he can do some good things. But really just a Talon 2 with some good items that can stay alive. He can be a really strong opener.
Okay.
Speaking of strong openers, Teemo. Teemo's a weird champion this set. The thing that might catch you off guard is that Teemo with a Ginsu's, he's a Ginsu's user. He's not a caster. But with Ginsu's, I think he is the strongest opener. And again, tunings can change. But Teemo with a Ginsu's can really melt down tanks. Because the way he works is he hits a target, does some bonus on-hit damage, and then has a stacking poison. So the more you hit, the more that stack goes, and the more you can start to like bleed out a really strong champion. So for example, if the enemy ever has like a 2-star Aatrox with 2 items, Teemo is actually going to be really good at taking that down over time compared to everyone else in the 1-cost space. So I really like Teemo as with Ginsu's user. Now Teemo 3 generally ends up being a little too weak in the late game. He's not one of my favorite 3-stars, but just generally a pretty good opener if you've got that Ginsu's ready to go.
Okay.
All right, Twisted Fate is a little weird.
I
think he's changed since like the influencer saw him. But basically, the way he works is he'll pick a number 1 through 9, and he'll do damage based off that. So if you hit a 1, he's going to do his lowest amount of damage.
Okay, that sucks. Because I already know I'm just gonna get the ones. What the fuck?
If you do a 9, he'll do his biggest amount of damage. Now, the spread is not so extreme that it's like 100 damage and 500 damage. It's not that crazy. So low rolling here isn't going to make too big a difference. But you can lose as much as like 30% of your damage from a 9 to a 1. The big thing here is if you have 2 Fate Weaver in, he'll always pick the highest number. So 2 Fate Weaver, you don't want to play him without 2 Fate Weaver, because that will make those 1s become more likely like 4s and 5s and 6s. So that's really valuable here. But otherwise, he's a pretty standard AP caster. Your Shojin
What the fuck is
JG
that?
or your Nashor's JG can do some big damage. The overkill bounces. Only other fun thing to note is when he is 3-star. So if, like, let's say you get a Build-A-Bud or you want to reroll him, if he rolls a 9 when he's 3-starred, you'll gain some gold.
Okay, cool.
So if you want to use him as an engine, you can. It's only at 3-star though. So I think when the influencers played it, it was any star level that was end up being too powerful. So. And then finally, Vagar. Vagar is in a weird spot right now. He's not one of my favorite openers personally, but he does have a high cap. Again, you'll want Replicator, you'll want Meeple, but as an opener, he ends up being a little weak because of his scaling with those traits. But once you get him going and you have like 2 items for this guy, he actually does pump out a lot of damage. So, if you have a couple Vagars, maybe consider like Lost Streak and to convert him into 3-star, or save the items for someone else like a Nami. But overall, he enables the Meeple line. He can enable replicators. His traits are solid. But yeah. All right, 2 cost. Akali. Akali is a weird champion. She's like another melee AD champion. That wants your like your BTs, your Edge of Nights. Marauder gives her some built-in Omnivamp as well. She actually does a surprising amount of damage if you get her like IE. So definitely consider that. Now, it's funny, I just said IE. Don't actually build IE on her, sorry. The reason you don't build IE on her is because her Nova passive is, I think, one of the better ones. It gives your entire team precision. Now, what is precision? Precision is just the fancy keyword now for spell crit. So IE grants precision. JG grants precision. Jeweled Lotus grants precision. All those effects that we used to just be like, now your spells can crit, is called precision. So basically, having an Akali on your board means everyone on your team's spells can crit.
That sounds broken.
Now, I know that sounds really powerful, and it is. But the thing to note here is it doesn't raise your crit rate. So, for example, if you just have like a Corki in the back where someone, not Corki is a bad example, but I was going to say Caitlyn, that's even worse example, a Gnar on your board. Gnar only has a 25% crit rate, so you'll want to build crit items to go with the Akali. But if you do it right, much like Vanquisher in the last set, you can run like a Stride Breaker plus a Quicksilver, and then actually have a good amount here with the Akali to provide that spell crit. So, and then as far as her effect goes, her Nova Ultimate, again, if you have an Akali 3, consider making her the Nova Ultimate. She'll do a bunch of bonus damage and jump around to people. So, pretty good there. But again, really only if you have an Akali 3. And Akali 3, I think what you'll probably see more with Akali 3 anyway is less 5 Nova and more like Marauder plus strong traits and things like that. But she will be pretty strong on PBE. She's definitely someone who can do well. She might fall off in the late game though, but yeah.
Probably
all right, Belveth. Belveth has 3 traits, Challenger, Marauder. So yeah, if you want to go like Akali plus Belveth, you can. Primordian though, Belveth is the 3rd Primordian and the 2-cost Primordian, so the one that really caps Primordian the highest. Does a lot of rapid attacks, uses Challenger well. Ginsu's can be good because the total number of slashes does scale with attack speed. So she's a good carry, and like I said, if you're playing reroll Belveth, you're playing Primordian most likely. Primordian's going to scale her up the most. She is kind of that primary carry of Primordian. Okay. All right, Gnar. Gnar is kind of your item holder for Corki in the Meeple line, but can actually be played reroll as well. Does really well with Ginsu's, pretty...
But he's the backliner again? Okay.
Common, you want that like Ginsu's IE opener. Like Caitlyn's one of them. Cool. Gnar is another one here. Every 5 attacks launches a boomerang that does some bonus damage, which is really good. And if you have like a 3 Meeple, 2 Sniper opener, Gnar can be a very good carry, and it's going to PBE probably pretty strong. So definitely consider him as your opener, and there might be some Gnar reroll as well. So, all right, Gragas.
Okay, just straight up, this trade name, Psionic, sounds cool as fuck.
Gragas is A pretty standard 2-cost tank. He's got Brawler, which is good here, but in terms of utility, again, Gragas is, I think, going to be one of the MVPs of this set as far as
Really?
openers go, because he's got Brawler, which we've talked about numerous times here, but also Psionic. Psionic is a very powerful trait in that the 2-piece
I love to hear that because that just sounds so cool.
basically gives you a bonus item, and that bonus item can be played on anyone. It does not have to be played on a Psionic unit. So, for example, if you have like Gragas plus Victor or Gragas plus Pike, all of a sudden you're up an item, which is a very powerful thing, especially in the early game.
Yeah,
So,
sounds good.
you know, I see a lot of like Brawler Psionic openers, or like I said, if you get like a Victor out of a box, it's a pretty common thing to go like Channeler plus Brawler and do some cool things there. So definitely consider that. But like I said, you'll see Gragas on a lot of boards just for that reason. Gwen. Gwen is a weird champ this set. I mean, she's a weird champ every set. It's a lot like set 16 Gwen, but she has Rogue to help keep her alive. And, you know, it's the same like snip and dash, snip and dash. Rogue is really good. Space Groove is fine on her. If you have a bunch of AP items for her, though, and she gets a bunch of resets, because she's kind of like Katarina from back in the day, where if she gets a kill, she'll jump to the next target and do it again. And if you can get her to 3-star early, like a worth the wait Gwen is definitely worth playing. Because oftentimes you also find she just like randomly ends up on the back line and like will melt the back line. She has the same problem a lot of melee champions do, which is she can get stuck on a tank. But if you can get her to dash past that tank, she can do some really cool things. So, you know, just a good AP carry. All right, Jax. Jax, as far as his spell goes, nothing gonna blow you out of the water here. He's a tank. He's kind of like Leona from last set, where during his spell he's got some of that flat damage reduction. Scales with armor and MR, so a tank. But the thing to note about Jax is if you can get a Jax early, he's kind of like the linchpin of Stargazer. You often have the Twisted Fate, the Talon, but the Jax is the hard part to get Stargazer active. And Stargazer is a trait that if you can play it, definitely is fun to play. It's got these powerful hexes, and each game it changes what it is. So I always look at, like, anytime I see an early Jax, it's like, let me check the Stargazer, let me see if that's worth going into, let me see if I have the other units, and if so, I'm probably going to lean into that. So again, he's got that powerful trait worth playing. All right, Jinx. Jinx is an interesting champion. You're not going to play her as a primary carry too much.
Are you sure about that?
She kind of has this weird thing where because her spell scales with attack speed a bit, I find her to be pretty bad in the early game, but that's okay because she's Anima. And again, Anima is the lost streak trait of the set. So often what happens is you get a Jinx, you play some Anima, you lose, then power up and hit the Jinx 3, and actually she's a beast. Like, for a lot of our playtests in the last couple weeks, Jinx 3 with like 3 items has been very, very powerful. So just calling that out, though, that like, you know, let's say you start with like a Jinx 2 from Warpath or something. That's not actually the best spot to be in, but she does scale really well. And she's kind of a marksman. She wants that attack speed. That's the other thing, too, is don't play her without attack speed. Even though her spell is doing most of her damage, because the spell has an attack speed scaler, you really want attack speed on her. So.
Okay.
All right, Meepsy. Fun little champion here. A little Meep controlling a space golem. Meepsy is very cool. Really, really good traits. Kind of has that curse where because the traits are so good, probably isn't going to be like an overpowered champion by any means. But has Shepherd, the summon, which we talked about. Has Meeple, which we talked about is kind of like the big vertical. Makes her good. And what's interesting is Meeple scales each Meep person in a different way. And Meepsy's scaling is all healing received goes up. So this is where things like Spirit Visage is really good on Meepsy. If you have like Spirit Visage Warmogs plus something else,
Yumi.
Or if someone else on your team has a Gunblade and you want to run Meepsy as a primary tank, you can do some cool stuff there.
Or Yumi.
And then finally, Voyager. Voyager's a lot like Strategist in the past, where your front line gets a shield, your back line gets some damage amp, and then the Voyagers get more. Okay. So Voyager also makes her kind of flex in that regard. So like Shepherd Voyager flex between the two is a pretty common thing you can do. So because of that, Meepsy has very valuable traits. So.
Cool.
All right, Milio. Milio is a lot like Ezreal in the sense that like if you have a Milio opener, you're looking for that time breaker, fast 8, use that to play well. Milio reroll is it won't be something I think we see a lot of unless you get like worth the wait. It's not that he's weak by any means, but it's like you have to have Timebreaker and Fate Weaver, which can sometimes lead you to not have a ton of frontline. But again, if you find yourself with a bunch of Milios, it kind of it's kind of the same as not. It's a different skill, but basically it's a lot like last set's Milio as far as itemization. You want him casting a bunch. You want like a JG on him. Well, actually, sorry, you don't need JG. I haven't explained Fate Weaver yet. Fate Weaver is weird in that Fate Weaver champions inherently have precision, so all of them don't need JG. But again, Fate Weavers have a lower base spell crit than, I mean, everyone has that low spell crit, 25%. So you still want crit items on him to take advantage of it. So Milio is someone you play if you have like a Stride Breaker or a Nashers. Like Milio is probably the best Nashers user in the set. And then his Fate Weaver thing is like basically every time his ball bounces, there's a chance it'll bounce again and bounce again. And so if you have 2 Fate Weaver in, you're going to get a lot of bounces to make sure you get the highest possible chance it bounces. So he can do a lot of damage at his peak, but that's kind of how he works.
Okay.
All right, Mordekaiser, 2-cost tank. Nothing crazy to write home about here, but he is a Dark Star. He has 3 traits, so you commonly see him enabling Channeler. Channeler gives your team that mono regen. This dude's a beast. Like, he's very powerful. You know, if you see a Mordekaiser 2 on stage 2, be scared. I don't think he's like so strong that you're going to see him on like stage 4 boards, but he does feel like one of the best stage 2 openers just because he gives you that Dark Star and Channeler, both of which are quite valuable. Excuse me. And then with the tank items, the Vanguard will also give you a lot of effective health on your board, so that can be really good. All right, Pantheon. Pantheon, I'm saying this a lot, and this is just the way the trait structure works this set, but Pantheon also has insanely good traits, right? 2 Brawler, we've talked about that. 2 Timebreaker, right? Like, the common thing is either the Pantheon Milio or the Pantheon Ezreal Fast 8 to take advantage of that Timebreaker. So you're going to see a lot of that, and then also Replicator. So he just has really good traits. You'll see him on a lot of boards. Pyke. Pyke's a weird one. Pyke is a very weird champion. Now, again, he's psionic, so you'll see him on a lot of boards, like just kind of chilling, and Voyager, so good traits. But as far as his spell goes, he's kind of hard to play. He reminds me a lot of Fizz from the last set, where he can end up on backlines, but if he doesn't like kill a key target, he doesn't necessarily do a lot, and he can get targeted and fall off. He doesn't have Rogue built in to keep him safe. So he's a weird one.
So he's gonna be an annoying piece of shit this set, huh?
Expect him to be one of the harder things to play. I wouldn't jump right into like a Pyke game in your first game. You're probably gonna have a rough time. But as people figure out builds and figure out spots to play him, it's not that he's like unplayable or anything. He's just gonna be one of the more narrow lines, just because of the way he works. And so he basically what he does is he hooks somebody and then jumps behind them. So if anything, he can be frustrating to face because he will like displace your corner unit and move them up a hex.
Oh, fuck.
But then if you invest in him,
I have PTSD of hooks, man.
he ends up like not doing enough damage, much like, you know, Fizz used to. And so we'll see. But again, if nothing else, playing him for 2 Psionic is worth it. You know, I commonly will play like Gragas, Bruiser, Psionic with a 2 Channeler, and then Pyke goes in at 5 so that you get the Psionic item and can put that, you know, stuff like that. So, yeah.
Okay.
All right, Zoe. Zoe's actually pretty strong. Again, Zoe is one of those champions that if you see, you know, Zoe plus Leona, you're like, sweet, let me check the Arbiter, see if it's an Arbiter that works with her. If it is, consider like a reroll Zoe line. If not, maybe hold the items for like the LeBlanc. But definitely you want to play her around Arbiter. You can also just play her with Channeler if you have like that Mordekaiser as an item holder. But yeah, generally some good AP. The big thing with her is because she's a Channeler, you're not going to want to put like a Shojin's or a Nashor's on her. You're just going to want to go like full AP and let that spell hit. And then she has some of the best backline access to her damage, so she can hit the backline pretty hard. So, all right, on to 3 costs. Aurora. Aurora is a weird champ because Anima. So if you get an Aurora out of a box, you're like, time to Lost Streak, right? Is one of the 2 3 costs to get Anima going. And then once she stacks up, she can do a lot of damage. From there, you really just have to think of her as like a standard AP user, right? You're going to want the JG, Nashor's, Shojin kind of stuff on her. Though her traits don't give her a ton of AP, so actually even like a Death Cap is quite good on Aurora. Aurora will be the kind of champion that like will blow your mind on the damage meters, but won't necessarily win you all the fights. Because she will do a bunch of damage and it's split amongst all targets hit. So if she hits like one target, you'll see this like giant 3,000 crit, and you're like, whoa, that's crazy. But she only hit one target, right? And then she has this 80 mana cost, so she does need spell, mana generation pretty heavily. Now, if she's itemless, though, the thing to note here is she debuffs the enemies she hits, and then after a while they take damage. So she can actually be a good supportive unit for like a Voyager comp, for example. Play her for that Voyager trait. They take a bunch of damage, and then the true damage pops. So it can actually be a good supportive unit. She's kind of the closest to a supportive unit that we've seen. But again, a 3-star
Okay.
Aurora can definitely pump out the damage. So
Sounds cool.
okay, Diana. Diana is one of the weirder champions we've made in a while. She's a melee champion, AP. Makes
Of
sense.
course.
When she casts her spell, she gains a shield, and then 3 orbs start to circle her. Seems fine. The crazy thing is, the higher her attack speed, the faster the orbs go. And you might be thinking, that doesn't sound too crazy.
Fuck, it's another Rage Blade Diana. Holy shit.
It's more ticks of her spell, and the way it scales is actually pretty insane. In our testing, like, the difference between a Diana with and without a Ginsu's is like night and day. So like,
Okay, so triple Rage Blade Diana. Is that a thing?
like if you have a Diana, get some attack speed on her, and she is kind of a beast. And then again, she's like the third Arbiter here. She's one of the Arbiters, by the way, that can do really well with like HP and stuff like that. So for example, like if your Arbiter effect is every 3 attacks gain permanent HP, all of a sudden you can have like a 5,000-6,000 health Diana 3 that is doing a ton of damage as well. So, but yeah, she's a cool one, but definitely needs attack speed. Fizz.
3-cost Fizz.
It's not quite annoying as last set's Fizz, but
Good.
he's still annoying.
Of
He's going to dash around
Fuck.
and do some magic damage. And then every third cast, there's going to be this giant meep shark that appears and does a bunch of AoE damage. And it is a lot of AoE damage. So getting to these third casts matters a lot. If you get Fizz early, rogue openers with him are really good so that, the rogue can drop the aggro, gives him some extra AP.
So he has like Q and R combo, huh?
And makes those hit really hard. But really, it's about getting to that third cast. And I've had some fights where this guy will hit like 20,000 damage on the meters just because those third casts hurt. They are really, really big. But he has the same problem a lot of melee champions do, which is if he ever gets targeted, he dies very quickly. So, okay, Alawi is our first 3-cost tank, and I want to talk about something real quick. Is something that has happened over the course of the development is a lot of our 3-cost tanks are actually like pretty powerful. You could even like borderline debate if some of them are like the correct distance between the 4-cost tanks. But what we've found, especially as we've returned to a normal size set, is that having a 3-cost tank be strong has done really good things to the game so that not everyone's just fighting over all the 4-cost tanks. So if you get a 3-cost tank early, consider them quite strong.
Okay.
And Alawi is no difference. Like, even though she's an Anima unit, and Anima's going to lose, she's also Shepherd, which is good, but she's just really tanky. Like, investing in her, she's hard to kill. She'll drain some health, she'll heal a bunch, she's very tanky. So don't sleep on these tanks. These tanks are actually quite good. I think a lot better than like the 3. Like, she's not quite Darius levels right now, but she reminds me of Darius, where it's like, oh, you face a Alawi 2 on 3/2 with items, and you're like, how do I ever kill this thing? So.
Open up Darius
All right,
as last
Kaisa.
patch.
Kaisa is a rogue, but she's still a backliner. She's, an IE, a backline caster kind of thing. But she's kind of like, if you're going to play some rogues, having a backliner
What is this Kaisa skin? I don't think I've ever seen that.
that will stay alive till the end is usually good. And she can enable 2 Darkstar. So a common thing is like 2 Darkstar, 2 Rogue, play tempo off that and do well. She can do a lot of damage and gets those executes from Darkstar. Otherwise, she's not going to wow you too much, but she can output a lot of damage.
Okay.
All right, Lulu. Lulu is kind of a complicated champion. Not that complicated, but the thing to note here is she's an AP caster, right? So she's going to want, again, your Shojin, Nashers, JG, Deathcap, all that stuff. She is a replicator, so you're going to want 2 replicator actives. But the crazy thing here is that her spell slightly changes based on the Stargazer. Now, you don't even have to have Stargazer active. It's just, what is the Stargazer this game? That will change her spell a little bit. So, for example, if it's the Serpent Stargazer, she will also shred a bunch of flat magic resist with her spell. I forget all of them. I don't know them all off the top of my head. But like there's one, for example, that will get gold on kills. There's one that will do a little extra AoE damage. And so you can consider that as just like a nice flavor to check with Lulu. But otherwise, she can do generally pretty good. I mean, literally our final playtest today, I just took second with her with Lulu 3, and it was the Serpent one. That's why I knew that one off the top of my head. Playing her with Replicator with Misfortune, which I'll talk about in a minute. And so, like, there's definitely a lot of cool ways you can play her. But yeah, solid AP carry. Okay, Maokai. Maokai is going to be another popular unit. Maokai has a passive that says he gains more health from all sources. So, and he's a brawler, which gets wild.
Right?
So if you have a Maokai 3 with like 4 or 6 brawler and a Warmogs, this guy can hit Cho'Gath levels of HP.
Holy shit,
you
that
can
sounds
do
cool.
some pretty wild stuff with Maokai. Like Maokai out of a box into Cosmic Hex can be pretty insane. Hefty Rolls, although I don't think Hefty Rolls is in the set. But there are definitely augments that like give health that like pair really well with Maokai. So definitely consider that. And on top of that, he's a Nova unit. His Nova passive is actually one of the weaker ones. As we hit the higher cost Nova units, their passives get weaker. I believe his is heal a unit, or it's either heal a unit or shield somebody.
Same shit.
Yeah, we'll look at it when we get to Nova. But it's not one of the better ones. Now his ultimate, his 5 Nova ultimate, is like the safe choice. If you're running 5 Nova, and maybe like you don't have your Kindred itemized yet, and you want to, play around that, his is like the safest, which is it hits the whole board and stuns them, right? You basically get a board-wide stun by playing 5 Nova. So he's a safe choice if you're looking to do that. His spell itself is actually not that impressive. It's really about his passive. So getting him HP, making him this giant health bar that no one can take down. Maokai is very strong. Okay, Misfortune.
I've seen this in
Misfortune is weird in that we have to talk about her as if she's 3 different units. And in fact, in our playtest feedback, we would always list her as 3 different units. Because the way she works is she shows up in your shop, it says Gun Goddess and choose a trait. And when you grab her, she has 3 traits she can play as. Challenger, Channeler, and Replicator. And so basically, whichever one you need, you can make her become that. Her Challenger build, she wants attack speed, right? Which is not shocking. She's like Ginsu's IE. She's always an AD champion in all of these, by the way. So she's not an AP champion. She's always AD. But you have like your Ginsu's IE. She can be a rapid challenger and enable her with things like Diana. She can be a really good backliner, pair with Kindred. So that can work well. Channeler, she's more like an IE Deathblade. You actually, because she's a channeler, you don't really want your Shojins. But she has like a big, like kind of like her ult, but it only hits 2 targets, but it hits them pretty hard. So definitely like that. And then we have Replicator, and this is where you want your Shojin IE. She becomes more of the caster and does this like line spell that can hit pretty hard. So again, the cool twist here is you can build her however you want. She almost always wants IE just for the spell crit. And then the items change based on which class you got. So cool.
Bro, this sounds crazy for a 3 cast. What the fuck? We used to have 5 casts do this. Holy shit.
Alright, and then Ornn. Ornn's gonna be tricky. We'll see balance-wise. This guy's scary. Ornn's passive is at the start of combat, he gets a temporary item, and it's a random tank item. So, for example, you could throw in an Ornn on 2-1, first combat starts, and bam, he has a Warmogs. Okay. Or a Bramble, or a Gargoyle, whatever.
That sounds pretty good. What the fuck?
If you have 2 items on him, like let's say you already have a Warmogs and a Bramble, he'll make a 3rd item. Okay, cool. If you have 3 items on this guy, So let's say you have Warmogs, Bramble, Dragonclaw. At the start of combat, one of them becomes Radiant.
Jesus fuck.
So you could find, for example, on 3-2, you're facing an Ornn with Radiant, Warmogs, Bramble, Dragonclaw, and it's like, whoa. Now, because of that, much like Maokai, his spell doesn't actually do that much. His spell's pretty weak. But the fact that you can generate an item and he's Bastion, you'll see this guy on a lot of boards just for that reason, right? It's like you have an Aatrox 2, you find an Ornn, throw it on the board for 2 Bastion, and that Ornn makes a Warmogs. You're like, okay, works for me. You know, so this guy can get scary. And then
Misfortune and Ornn as a 3-cost sound fucking crazy. What the fuck? We used to have 5-cost that would do this. Now all that power in the 3-cost? Holy shit.
if you have an Ornn 3 who's getting a free Radiant item, like, we've actually had to tune down Radiant like Dragonclaw and Bramble and stuff like that just because of this guy. So he has a very high cap. Now, like I said, I don't think he's necessarily like OP, but because of the way items work, especially stage 2 and 3, if you have an Ornn 2, he can be really tough to take down. So definitely watch out for Ornn. And again, like I said, 3-cost tanks are scary this set. Now, we're getting to the last 3-cost tank here, which is Rost. But Rost actually has the opposite problem. So Rost is just he's a 3-cost tank. That's what he does. Pretty standard spell. He knocks people up. You know, no big deal. Heals. His trait, though, is called Redeemer. This trait is interesting, and it's actually one of the reasons why whenever I get a Rost out of a box, I actually personally sell him. I actually think he's a terrible opener. His trait says, for every non-unique trait you have active, your team gains armor, MR, and attack speed. So basically, for those of you that remember the augment Built Different, where it's like try to have as many small traits active as you can, it's built different for your team. So, you know, late game, this
it's not built different, right? It was the other one. I forgot what its name is. But like Jazz from set 10 or some shit?
As high as like 20 armor and MR and attack speed for your team, which can be really good. But the problem is, if you get him on stage 2, you have like 1 trait active. And this also scales with his star level, by the way. It's like 3, 4, 5% per trait. So a Rost on the opener is like, yay, 3 armor and MR, who cares? But I find this guy, like, especially this set with the way the traits, I told you they're all very valuable. You run like a 2 Brawler, 2 Bastion, 2 Channeler, 3 whatever, you know, a couple Voyager, 3 Shepherd, 4 Voyager, whatever. And then, like, you hit 9 and you throw in a Rost, and it's like a lot of power just being added onto your team. So I find him to be like one of the 3 costs you want to put in on 8 or 9 to get full advantage of that Redeemer if you're playing this kind of comp.
Okay.
So pretty cool there. I expect to see a lot of comps cooked up with him, but his passive, again, like team-wide 20 armor, MR, and attack speed for your team, pretty good. And he's not a weak unit, by the way. Like, he's actually also a solid tank, especially because he's kind of a threat, so he has pretty good base stats. So, all right, Samira. Samira's a weird one going to PBE. I know you're looking at this and thinking, okay, play her in Vertical Space Groove. And that could make sense, but the weird thing about her is she has a passive. And some of you have remembered we've done passives like this before, but basically anytime an enemy is knocked up, Samira will shoot them no matter what she's doing. So there's actually like double trouble boards where you could play like 2 Rosts for the knockups. I believe Ornn has a knockup, and then like 2 Samiras in the back, and they can all just like there's a knockup build out there that's possible.
That sounds fun.
But yeah, she's an interesting one. She's also just a standard AP caster. You're gonna want your like your Shojin IE kind of thing. A lot of the spells there, but also you can just go full AD, right? You can just ignore the Shojin and just go like IE Deathblade Giant Slayer, so that passive gets as big of a hit as you can each time you do a knockup.
Okay.
So pretty interesting to see. Samira's one that, again, I don't recommend you play day 1 of PBE, but as you cook up
don't tell me what to do
as well, she'll actually have some really neat stuff. All right, Urgot. Urgot is the first of the mechs that we should talk about. And if you've seen some of the trailers, you probably know already. But mechs are weird in that mechs are either the champion, or you turn them on mech version, and now they are a Colossus-like champion. They take up 2 slots. they're extra powerful, and they count as 2 mecha.
That sounds cool as fuck.
So Urgot, for example, can just be normal Urgot, or you can turn him into this like siege tank, and now he has a bunch of extra health, a bunch of extra damage, attacks slower, and counts as 2 mecha. So it's pretty cool. I like mecha a lot. I'll be playing it a lot in my games.
Sounds like I'll like mecha also. It just sounds
Urgot
cool.
is weird though, in that he's very feast or famine. If he gets stuck on a tank, this dude will do very little. But if he can like get past them, or has some big crits, or repositions with his dash, this dude will melt backlines. I have seen Urgots do 10,000 damage on like 3-1 just because they like moved around and got to the backline. This guy has a very high cap. The other recommended guide I'll tell you, by the way, for mechs is if you have 3 items for them, turn them into mechs. If you're gonna play them itemless for their traits, don't. Like, that's the simplest way to think about
That makes
mechs.
sense,
So
I guess.
throwing in an Urgot just for like the Brawler and Marauder, totally viable. But if you do that, I don't recommend turning him into the tank.
That makes
If
sense.
you've got 3 items on your Urgot, please turn him into the mech. And I'll talk about it when we get to the trait. But yeah, that's Urgot. And finally, Victor. Victor's a weird champion. His spell does a lot of damage, but it's very front to back. I find him to be a very good opener, specifically for Psionic. He can actually melt tanks before they really come online, but I find late game he's just too slow. So my recommendation here is, again, Victor out of a box, by all means play him. Victor reroll, I don't think it's quite there yet. So
Really?
the other thing, again, because he's a channeler, don't necessarily build things like Shojin. Really just go for, like, does he have the Psionic item? Mana regen is actually really good. Blue buff is actually really good on channelers. I should have said that earlier. But yeah, so he can do a lot of damage though. JG, like JG Deathcap blue buff, totally viable build. So
Okay,
okay,
forecasts.
forecasts. I only
Great.
have like an hour and a half left. I got to get through this in an hour and a half. Okay,
You will, don't worry.
Aurelion Soul.
I know it.
This is an interesting one in that he can operate as both. If you have like one leftover item for AP, he sits on the back line, he shoots a beam, does some damage as a standard unit, can help Chandler, totally fine. If you make him the mech, though, he becomes that starship that flies around and does
Oh my
damage.
god. From set 3?
And it's interesting because what I've found with Aurelion Soul is that
That's
he's
cool.
very strong early. If you get him early, you can win streak like stage 3 and half of stage 4 with this guy. But late game, because his damage is so spread out, he tends to struggle a little bit. You end up needing like a secondary carry to really help him. But that being said, pretty standard AP items here. You really just want to go like, full damage, which is true of both forms. So just so that those ships are doing as much damage as possible. Deathcap JG, stuff like that. So, cool. All right, Corki. Corki's one of your 4-cost caster backliners. Again, the weird thing here is because he's Fate Weaver, he doesn't need IE. So Corki really benefits from like Stride Breaker plus Deathblade plus like a Giant Slayer or even something like a Quicksilver.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool. Otherwise, again, play him with Meeple, right? You're going to want to play him with 5 Meeple or 7 Meeple.
I don't know what Meeple does, but we'll get to it.
Okay, the Mighty Mech. Same thing, this is our last mech. This is the primary tank of the mech comp and a really good 4-cost tank. Because again, he can be a Colossus unit. So imagine, you got your like Warmog's Bramble Dragonclaw on a unit that has baseline like 2,000 health. It's pretty insane. So he can be one of the better tanks. The weird thing about him, though, is that he's a Voyager unit, and your instinct's going to be like, oh, I'll play him in Voyager. But actually, he doesn't benefit from Voyager that much. Voyager's front line is a flat shield health. And so because he's got like, 3,000-4,000 health, an extra 200, 300 shield, who cares, right? But that being said, playing him in mech, like with 4 mech, can do some pretty cool things. I also think he's going to be one of the better emblem holders. If you have like a Bruiser emblem on this guy to pair with Urgot, I think that will be insane.
Okay.
But just be aware that, like, don't be baited into thinking that, like, I should play him in Vertical Voyager. You can, by any means. I just don't think it's as amazing. And in fact, if you're playing Vertical Voyager, I find it better to, like, actually have him just be the itemless version so you can have an extra slot. But yeah, otherwise he's an interesting tank, does some big damage. And again, he is one of the more impressive 4-cost tanks. You can flex around. Like, remember I was talking about how Rost works really well, right? Like, play him with 3 mech active, 2 Voyager active, and then get Rost in with a bunch of other traits, and actually he can be pretty insane. So, something to consider. Karma. Karma is your pretty standard big boom 50 mana caster. I know big boom and 50, not quite there. But basically the idea here is, JG, Nashers, get some big crits, shoots 3 targets, big damage, pretty standard AP caster. And the fact that she's Darkstar and Voyager has some good traits as well. But big damage. We find that playing like a Karma plus LeBlanc or a Karma plus Nami builds can be really good as like double carries. So those are pretty solid. Kindred. Kindred is going to be your backline Ginsu's user at 4 cost.
Cool.
Pretty standard. Shoot. Lots of shoots. Does some damage. Nothing too crazy here. Her Nova passive is one of the weaker ones, which is just, I believe it's heal a champion. So nothing crazy there. But her Nova effect, so this is where, again, if you're playing 5 Nova and you have a Kindred with 3 items, Kindred is probably going to be your common 5 Nova pick. And basically what it does is every time it procs, it'll put one of her marks on people, and it can proc multiple times. Hers is the only one that can proc multiple times. And so it's just going to help her mow things down quicker as you hit those 3 marks to get Wolf to come out and bite. It just basically, she's a good carry, and if you have 5 Nova, it makes her an even better carry. Kind of like how traits do. Finally, LeBlanc. LeBlanc is a weird one. LeBlanc is our Ginsu's AP user, actually. Basically, she stands on the back line, gets 40 mana, 5 clones appear, they all shoot some shots, and then she reverts, repeat. Where LeBlanc shines is there are a bunch of Arbiter effects that are like every 3 attacks or every 10 instances of damage. And because, again, as I said, Arbiter can be over budget, if you get something like every 10 instances of damage, gain 10 AP, all of a sudden you have this 2 or 3 piece trait that's gaining you 100 AP over the course of a fight. LeBlanc can really output some damage. So I find LeBlanc to be the kind of carry that you play if the Arbiter syncs up really well with her. If it doesn't, then I typically try to avoid LeBlanc, but definitely has some pretty high caps with Arbiter there. All right, Master Yi. Master Yi is our AD damage dealer. If you get him early, very
Master
good.
Yi.
Again, Psionic. There's some good Psionic items with him. Marauder. But otherwise, it reminds me a lot of Belveth a little bit. Actually, that's not true. Closer maybe even to actually, I don't know if there's a good comparison last set. But TLDR here is basically he wants to attack fast, and he's a melee champion. So even something like Edge of Night Ginsu's plus some damage can be really good here.
USS Railbit maybe, BT, something like that.
Every time he I guess Warwick, actually. Warwick might be the best comparison. He kind of reminds me a little bit of that Warwick kind of strength. And so he will do a lot. He will heal a lot with Marauder. Can be tough to take down. So Nami I feel like is the easiest 4-cost AP to use. She, all you really need to get her operated is 2 Replicator. She doesn't have to be played in Space Groove. 4 Replicator is obviously good as well, but if you were playing an AP opener early and then transition into a Nami on 4-2, you should be doing all right. Nami's kind of been our baseline 4-cost, so I expect her to be pretty easy to play and do pretty well.
What the fuck?
Nunu. Nunu is the 4-cost CC tank of the set. This dude will be played in a lot of comps. He can enable 3 Stargazer, but basically he drops a snowball where he is, stunning everybody, and then he pushes the snowball, which can go towards backline, and stun them. So with the right stuns, this
that sounds fun as fuck. What?
Guy can hit 6 out of 8 units. He won't hit both backline corners, but if you thought Swain was popular, Nunu's the same. Now, Nunu doesn't have as good a traits as Swain, so I don't think we'll see, the 4.3 levels of usage that we saw Swain see. But I will say, as someone who plays the set a lot, I put this guy on my board a lot. This guy's very good. Even with just 2 Vanguard, you're playing this guy. So Rammus. Rammus is probably the strongest just baseline tank of the 4-cost, other than, the Mighty Mech with Mech enabled.
Okay.
Rammus is really tanky. That's mostly what he does, is just be a tank, be a tank. But if you have Meeple in, he gets to be even tankier. So pretty standard 4-cost tank. Nothing really much to say other than the dude's a tank, right? It's kind of like
Okay.
Braum in that regard, where he's very tanky. Okay, Riven. Riven is really interesting. If you liked Riven from set 4, this will remind you of that, but I
Oh,
think actually a lot better. Now,
okay. I don't read spells because like all this bullshit, but that just sounds cool
she
as
has a
fuck.
Timebreaker, but you're probably not playing her in Timebreaker that much unless you have like a reroll Milio and you want to cap that out with Timebreaker. But she's not she herself is not going to be played in like a 4 Timebreaker comp. If anything, if you happen to still have like the Pantheon and the Riven, then you're going to be able to like, okay, cool, I can get like a couple rerolls or XP as I'm going, but it's also stage 4, so it's not that big a deal. The bigger story is that Rogue, like, she'll definitely want like 2 Rogue active, if not more. Rogue's giving her that AD or AP, so she's going to be able to do some damage. But this is where Riven, I think, is really powerful. Her passive is that basically whichever one is higher, AD or AP, she will do that type of damage. So if you have a bunch of
Okay.
AD items, great, you have an AP rogue or AD rogue that's doing whatever. If you have AP items, she's an AP damage dealer. So she can use almost any type of item. She
That's
is, in my
cool.
opinion, the best secondary carry in the game. And all you really need to make her valuable is 2 rogue. And 2 rogue is nice for the aggro drop. That's it. And so I love this champion. I think she'll be played on a lot of boards, but she's quite powerful. And even like the 5 rogue Riven can like really output the damage. So Riven's pretty cool, and yeah. All right. Now, normally the 4-cost CC tank is the most popular tank in the game. Tom Kench is going to be able, I think, to beat that. Tom Kench is just a brawler. Like, you have to ignore Oracle for a second. He's just a brawler. He has a decent passive, which makes him tanky. He's not quite as tanky as Rammus, but he is very tanky. He's a 4-cost tank. And so the fact that he activates 2 brawler, obviously good. Oracle, though, is where the value comes in. Tom Kench is the kind of champion that if you high roll on 2-5, you're going to be coasting. This because Oracle is an engine, and what it basically says is every 3 turns, gain something you need. And so what he'll
Okay.
do is he'll give you like a 4-cost of a champion you didn't need, or some extra gold, or items, and like he will generate a lot of resources.
What
And
the
so
fuck?
it is very, very common to just be like, okay, it's late game, throw in a Tom Kench for 2 brawler and free resources. Sweet. Or,
Cool.
hey, I happen to hit 2-star Tom Kench. You can play him in any comp because all I really need is 2 brawler active. So I think you're going to see a lot of this guy. And then finally, Xayah. Xayah is actually one of the harder ones to play. She's the Ginsu's AD user,
Okay.
but she also wants Stargazer, and so she's a little more narrow than some of the other champions we've talked about.
Wait, Bard, Blitzcrank, and Fiora 5-cost. Blitzcrank I've seen.
But
Didn't see
that
this
being
too.
said, if you have like 3 Stargazer, 2 Sniper active, and she also likes Ginsu's, by the way, or I think I already said that, but she does have a very high cap. Like, going to PBE, unless they nerfed her, like, she was like the strongest 4-cost carry. So she can really output the damage. She pairs really well next to Jhin, so it's like you put her and Jhin in the same comp, and it's just like off you go with like 2 Darkstar, 2 Sniper, 3 Stargazer, and she can do a lot. I expect to see her as like, she reminds me a little bit of Yunara, pretty different spell, but really, really high cap and pretty dang strong. So,
Okay.
yeah. Cool. All right, then we have our 5 costs.
Graves,
Now,
5
one thing
cost,
to note before I
Morgana.
start talking about the 5 costs is all the other champion number counts, by the way, are like the standards of what you would see in like set 14 or 15, right? Like 14 1 costs, 13 2 costs. The only thing different is that you'll notice there are 10 5 costs instead of the usual 8.
I love
Now,
that.
it's actually only +1. It's actually only 9. Zed, which we'll talk about in a second, is only available through an augment, but this does
I've heard
mean
about
this
that.
set has more 5 costs than usual. So something to keep in mind
It's gonna be harder to hit,
is
huh?
that Zed is, so we have more 5 costs, so it'll be a little harder to 2-star them. Only a little. So, okay. Gonna try to power through this. Bard. Bard has a couple things going on here that are important. The first one is that he is in Meeple, but he doesn't actually scale with Meeple that well. So don't feel like you need 7 meeple to play Bard. Bard is actually just really good by himself with 2 Channeler. Okay, so in the past we've had this problem where you can only play these 5 costs if you have their trait active. That's not Bard. Bard is very good outside of Meeple. He does a ton of damage and does not actually scale that well with Meeple. Okay, but the weird thing is he's actually very good in Meeple for other Meeples, because what he does is he grants the nearest, I think it's like 2 or 3, I think it's 2, other Meeples +1 Meep, which is their trait. So essentially, it's like if you're playing 5 Meeple, having a Bard next to your Corki means the Corki is now like 7 Meeple. Or if you're playing 7 Meeple, it's closer to like higher than 7 Meeple. So he powers up other Meeples. So that's what makes him good in vertical Meeple, but not himself. And so if you're playing him as the carry, play him outside of Meeple.
Let me check if the PBE is up, just so I can let it download in the background while I watch. It looks like it's not up yet. They had some issues. Okay, I'll continue watching then.
Okay. Now all of that to say is,
Actually,
what
let
is
me
the
go
spell?
to the
The
restroom. I need to go to the restroom, Holy.
is
Okay.
a ton of damage. He's like a big AP. I think he's like the better version of Victor. He just does a ton of damage front to back and he can like melt tanks. So you want a lot of AP on this guy, right? Like Death Cap, JG.
Actually, can I just let it update in the background? Wouldn't that work? Let me just not leak anything. Be right back. I'm still here. Didn't go anywhere. I just don't want to leak anything. Okay, it's
Blue buff is
up,
good for the mana regeneration.
updating
But
in the
what's cool is
background.
if he kills people, there's a chance that he abducts them and makes copies on your bench. And so he can also generate some resources. So does some cool stuff here. And then if you haven't seen it, he can actually use this ability on the Elder Dragons on 5/7 and 6/7 and get copies of Elder Dragons. So pretty neat. Okay,
Okay.
Blitzcrank. Blitzcrank's a weird one. The thing to note here, by the way, is Blitzcrank, not a tank. Do not put tank
What the
items on this
fuck?
guy. In fact, if you've been playing the last set, the closer person to compare him to is Set.
Really?
You want like JG Death Cap plus BT or something like that. Maybe
What
not
the
even BT,
fuck?
because his passive works a lot like Set. The way it works is he has a health bar, and then when that health bar goes to 0, he's going to like disengage. Now, unlike Set, he doesn't run away. He just disengages right where he is. And that can cause some weird pathing things that will frustrate you. But
Okay,
then he
don't like
gets his
that.
health back to full, and then he comes back, and he's back again, but now with even more damage. This dude can crank out a lot of damage, so don't make the mistake of trying to play him like a tank. He's closer to Set. Okay, AP items, very good. 2 health bars, doesn't really need Space Groove, doesn't really need Vanguard. This dude's just a beast. So,
Okay.
Fiora. Uh, Fiora is a lot like the powered up version of Master Yi in this set. You want AD items on him, does a lot of AD.
Okay.
The Divine Duelist here is going to do a bunch of damage. And the other thing is it's going to allow you to heal back up, which is pretty solid. So that is a good thing. But otherwise, Fiora is a good way to cap out, your AD line if you hit her early. She also has that thing where if she ever gets down to a one-on-one with any other unit, she will instantly win the fight. So that's pretty cool. So she could be good
Okay.
at, like, for example, beating a big Cho'Gath that you're having trouble killing.
So similar like Yasuo in one of the sets or a Teemo.
But yeah. Okay, now this is where I wish I had a big slide ready to go, because I wish I could talk about this longer. Graves is going to melt your brain, and I wish I had more info ready for you to go here. Maybe I'll try to make a separate post on Twitter later. Hopefully other sites also help me with this. I was joking with Froden that TFT Academy is going to love this guy. Graves is probably the most complicated champion we've ever made,
Okay, what
because
the
you
fuck?
essentially have a giant talent tree built into a champion. The way it works is you're going to play him, and every turn you play him, you're going to get like 4 choices. And this will dictate, is he ranged or melee? And then
What
if
the
based on
fuck?
that, is he going to do extra damage from afar, or shred armor, or double attacks, or whatever? And you could like fully customize your Graves. And each time you make a choice, there will be a couple turns where like it'll start delaying a little bit. But the point is, like, if you ever see a Graves 2 with like 6 or 7 upgrades, be scared. Some people were comparing him to Rumble in set 13, and I think that's an okay comparison, except that like it is impossible to get all of Graves upgrades, because some of them also have like they can upgrade themselves, right? Where it's like shotgun and then shotgun plus and shotgun plus plus.
Shotgun Pro
This
Max.
guy is going to take a while to learn. But the TLDR here, so you're looking for the short version, is he can be backline with like Ginsu's, or he can be frontline with like, Titans and stuff like that. And then from there, pick the utility and extra power you want on him to make him into the carry you need him to be. So Graves will have a lot of learning going on. I expect this guy to melt some brains for a while.
Grace sounds cool as fuck. What?
All right, Jin. Jin, 2 Dark Star. Again, very valuable.
Not forecast. Sag.
Eradicator. It's going to lower the enemy's armor and MR by 14%, so he's good to just throw in anyway. And then if you have items for him, this guy just pumps out a lot of damage. This guy loves IE. His spell is where most of his damage is. After
44
that,
mana,
you
that
can put whatever items you
at least that's good.
want on him, but this guy just does a lot of front-to-back damage. He melts tanks. He's a very powerful carry. Once you 2-star him, move your Zaya items over to Jin, or just play around Jin himself if you get him early. But Jin does a lot of damage. All right, Morgana.
Dark
Morgana
Lady.
is basically... So Dark Lady gives an aura, where it's like, I think it's damage amp and damage reduction based on which form she's in. So it's just a nice passive aura.
Wait, so she can be also like front line and back line?
And then to think of her as she's a 2-range unit, so you don't want her in the front line. You want her in the second row. And much like Blitzcrank, you want AP items on her. She's kind of a drain tank. But the damage she does heals her and makes her shield bigger. So you want lots of AP on Morgana. But a good example might be like Deathcap JGBT. Would be a totally viable build on Morgana. I'm sure we'll find better builds later. But yeah, she is another one of those champions that you can just kind of throw into any comp for the aura. And if you have the AP items, good stuff. Shen. Shen, again, not a tank. Just like
What?
Blitzcrank, it says Bastion. He's not a tank.
So there
He's
is no
actually a
5 cost tank?
Ginsu's user. You want him to do a bunch of attack speed. And what it is basically his passive is some bonus damage. And then after the 3rd cast, so that's why you want to get to that 3rd cast quick, it starts doing bonus true damage. And so, get to that point, you can start to melt people. And the other thing is his spell provides a very large slow. Shen is like kind of the counter to Master Yi and Fiora, because his slow, I believe, is 40%. It's like a 40% slow.
Attack speed slow or just
so
slow?
Getting that out there can be good. And then in addition, he also has this cool sword that you can place that gives people inside of it a bonus shield at the start of combat and some bonus attack speed.
Okay.
So I find Shen to be the kind of champion, even without items, he activates 2 Bastion, and you get the sword for the backline attack speed, so just a lot of utility for putting a Shen on your board.
Cool.
Sona. Sona is, in my opinion, the premier 5 cost.
Okay.
You play her often for Shepherd, you play her often for 2 Psionic. Again, we talked about how you play like a Gragas Tom Kench for Brawler, and then with the Gragas you have the Sona for Psionic, and you're getting that extra item. And then all of that to say is she's an AP caster, so you want the JG, Deathcap, all that stuff. But she also has Commander, and what Commander does is you'll get this command that's essentially like a mod for a champion, and it will last 2 turns and can do some pretty cool stuff. So one example of a mod is at the start of combat, gain a recommended item. Okay, cool. You can put that on somebody and be up an item. Another example is every 2 seconds you're alive, gain XP. And it's okay, cool. I put this on a backliner and I'm gaining 10, 12 XP a turn. Great. Or
Hey, what the fuck?
your spells and auto attacks now chill, stun, and burn and stuff like that. And it's there's a bunch of cool commands, and so having those commands on top of Sona, on top of Psionic, ends up making her very valuable. I put Sona on every board I can, personally.
She sounds cool as fuck. Holy, a lot of 5 costs are cool
Vex?
in theory.
Vex is a weird one. Vex is a Ginsu's user.
Okay, I heard
she's going to
that.
want to do a lot of attacks really, really quick. She ramps up. But what's really interesting about Vex is Doomer. Doomer says, the first time I hit an enemy, steal a percentage of their AD and AP. Not lower, steal.
Okay.
So you could have a champion who has a baseline 50 AD. You can knock that down to 30, and Vex is stealing that in AP. And so as Vex hits more and more of the team, her AP will build up. So she not only raises her own damage, but lowers theirs, and can do that. So even just throwing her in just to proc the Doomer on people can be really good, but also has a very high cap.
Okay, cool.
And then finally Zed. Now Zed is only available through a 3-2 augment.
3-2 augment.
But what Zed is like the old set 2 Zed, where he makes clones, and the clones make clones, and the clones make clones, and you can end up in a weird board state. Now, this guy's scary. And I will tell you, his item build is not the most intuitive, okay? The first thing I'm going to tell you is he needs Edge of Night. And yes, the way it works is if his Edge of Night hasn't procced yet, the clones have an unprocced Edge of Night.
Oh,
If
what
it
the
has
fuck?
proc, the clones have a procced Edge of Night. So what you want to do is like try to make as many clones as you can before Edge of Night procs. So Edge of Night's very good.
Okay, hear me out. Fire Canyon, trap him in the corner, and just let him spawn the clones.
The same is true, hilariously enough, of Bloodthirster. And so my personal build I have found to be good is Edge of Night, Bloodthirster, Shojin, which sounds weird,
I mean,
but
yeah.
the entire idea of this champion is
It's to
make as
cast.
many clones as you can to overwhelm them.
Yeah.
And between the Edge of Night procs, BTs, and health of the clones, your backline can win the fight. You do not put damage on this guy. It's very weird in that regard. So we'll see what kind of builds you guys come up with. But just calling it out here, like when this guy snowballs, it feels crazy. So
Okay.
cool. There you go. There's the champions.
Holy shit.
Let's try to get through traits. I have an hour left. I've got to get through all this in an hour. Holy crap. All right. I might not be able to talk as much. Okay. Anima Squad. Anima Squad is the lost streak trait. You play the 3-piece. If you have this on 2-1 or 2-2, you play it. Otherwise, in my opinion, you don't. Because the way it works is every loss gets more and more and more and more points. The ideal state is you get it in on 2-1, get
loss.
up to about a 500 cash out is a solid, good win. A 600 cash out is like you're probably going to win the game. And if you somehow get higher than that, you're probably going to super win the game. 700, 800 starts to do some wild things.
Okay, fortune.
What's interesting about Anima Squad is the rewards are always units and Anima Squad items. But unlike Chem Baron, this is what it's modeled off of, the Anima Squad items can be played on anybody. They do not have to be played on Anima Squad
That
units.
sounds
so you can play
broken
3
as fuck.
Anima, maybe get to like, for example, 300, take +1 item and a little gold, and then completely pivot out to a completely different comp. Now, if you get an Anima Squad emblem, you should consider looking at the 6-piece late game. The 6-piece is one of those, like, every time you win, just get extra stuff. Feels pretty good. Awesome. But yeah, otherwise, I will say it's like not one of our most innovative, lost streak traits. It's
That's
pretty
fine.
standard. How long of a lost streak can you go?
That's fine.
Can you get up to that 11 loss, that 12 loss, and get
I'm
a ton
fine
of
with
points?
that.
Also worth noting that in Soraka games, we'll talk about the gods in a little bit, but Soraka can give health, and so having more time to get your Anima lost streak is usually good. So anytime it's a Soraka game, I'm looking for an Anima opener if I can. So, all right. Arbiter. We talked about Arbiter a little bit, but basically it's a lot like the old admin where there's going to be a menu that pops up. There will be causes and effects. And the way to look at it is there's really 2 types, okay? There's resource generation. So you could play Arbiter for something like, hey, for every star level or Arbiter, have a chance to gain some rerolls. And use that to bank up some rerolls and then pivot to another comp. Or, as I mentioned, there's every time you do a couple attacks, chance to make a Leona. Okay, great. Use that, make 3 Leona, pivot out. So there's the resource generation arbiters. And then there's the actual combat stat arbiters. And usually those are designed around one specific unit. So it's like every 10 instances of damage, gain AP. Okay, that's a LeBlanc one. LeBlanc's the one doing tons of instances of damage. Or every 3 auto attacks do something. Every 3 auto attacks gain health. Okay, well that's Diana because LeBlanc doesn't really need the health. So that's a Diana game. Great. And you can look at it like that to try to figure out how to make your arbiter work.
That sounds interesting. I like that.
So, cool. All right, we talked about Bulwark, as you can see there, shield and attack speed for Shen. Commander, we talked about with Sona. Those are those mods that are really good. Yeah, Dark Lady, like I said, 5% DR or 10% while Morgana is in Dark form. That's during her spell. So you can do that. Dark Star, like I said, 2-piece Dark Star, super valuable because it's just 10% execute on the entire enemy team.
Holy
2
shit.
Dark Star is something I try to
Wait,
get
on every unit or just Darkstar units? Darkstars create a black hole that consumes enemies. I guess everyone.
in every comp I can. It's very good. 4-piece is really basic. It's just the team gains 30 armor and MR, the Dark Stars. And then the 6-piece is weird, where one unit, whoever your strongest unit is, basically that doubles. It becomes like 60 AD and AP. And you get these 2 black holes that their health is based on the rest of your Dark Star. So for example, if you go like Cho'Gath reroll, make this big Cho'Gath, then get to 6 Dark Star, those 2 black holes will also have a ton of health, and you can go really, really cool there. So And then to note here is Darkstar Prismatic is a 9, which means you can actually do it at level 9, not level 10, but it does require 3 emblems. And there aren't a lot of great ways to get emblems.
I mean, this says at level 10.
So, something to consider there. All right. Fiora's, like we talked about, Divine Duelist. This is you heal for 15% of the damage you deal. So that's like I said, if you're low with Anima Squad and then you get Fiora, you can heal back up if you start winning fights, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
Doomer, like I said, you steal their AD and AP when you hit them, which is great. Eradicator, talked about that, the 14% less armor and MR. Factory New, that's the talent tree thing. Every 3 upgrades, future upgrades will take an additional round. Zed, like we talked about, makes clones, pretty simple. Misfortune, choose the trait. Okay, Mecha. I talked about Mecha already, where you can basically run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 based on which ones are cost 2. The thing I'll call out is that the way Mecha, in my opinion, gets played is you either play it where it's like you have the Urgot early, play around him as a mech, and then find the Mighty Mech, play with them as your tank, and then later find the Aurelian Soul, and you're like, oh.
How does mech work with solo leveling? Like if you get Urgot out of the orb with solo leveling, does that work? I hope it does.
Okay, cool. If I only play 6 basically if I have items for all 3. Okay,
makes sense.
If I don't have items for all 3,
wait, how do you even play 6? 2, 4?
My recommendation is you only play 4. Even though the 6, it feels like it's powerful, where you're like, oh, free +1 size. It's almost not even worth it. And so, like, if I'm playing around Aurelian Soul Tank and Mighty Mech Frontline, I'll just ditch the Urgot. Or vice versa, if I'm playing around Aurelian Soul Carry and Brawler Frontline, maybe I keep Urgot with no items and only play 3 mech, and I don't even worry about the Mighty Mech, right? So it's like, it's an interesting thing where there's a lot of ways to play it, but don't be baited into thinking you have to play this 6, because I actually think unless you really have good items for all 3, that is a bait. So. Okay, Meeple. This says 2%. This is wrong. For those of you that remember Battle Academia, that's the way Meeple works. It's basically there's a modifier to each Meeple. And so each one will change what they do. It's pretty interesting. But the big thing to talk about with Meeple is the 3 and the 5 are basic, health and that amp power up. But the 7 actually gives you a cloning hex where you can start to clone units, much like Hui in set 11 with Artist.
Okay.
And you can start cloning units, and you also get a little bonus gold when you do that cloning. Froden was telling me he had a really fun game where he had worth the wait Poppy, then hit 7 Meeple early, then used the hex to start making even more Poppies, and eventually hit 4-star Poppy very, very early. Like you can do stuff like that. And so 7 Meeple is one of those generation engines that I think is really good.
Fun.
So definitely play around that. And then if you hit the 10 piece, you get these 4 Meep Lords, which are adorable. That actually, Aniko hit that in playtest today. So pretty cool. Nova, like I said, if you have at least 2, you get these effects. Aatrox is the Sunder and Shred. Caitlyn's the attack speed. Akali is the precision. All of those are good. Maokai is allies heals for 15% max health. It's okay. And then Kindred is shield the strongest tank for 800. It's okay. It's fine. Late game, it's actually not that great, but really you're just playing around Kindred. So, and then there is actually an emblem, which is kind of cool. But emblem says allies deal 10% bonus true damage. Now again, the thing to remember here is this is not just Nova units. This is the whole team. So do that.
Okay.
And then if you have 5, you gain that selector. Now the selector can be overwhelming, but the basic rule is if you have a 3-item thing, put the selector on that.
That makes sense.
It's probably your carry. If you don't have that, put it on Maokai. Maokai is your safe go-to board-wide stun. Take it.
Can I remove that? Like bench unit and
all right,
remove
party
it?
animal, that's Blitzcrank. This is basically the set mechanic where when he gets low, comes back. Primordian, like I said, Primordian is just extra damage based on their star level. But, and this is the weird thing about Primordian, is when you have the 3-piece, every round you gain a random 1 or 2 cost champion. And so this is where, like I said, you can actually play Primordian as an opener with some econ into Fast 8, right? You don't have to play it as a reroll comp. You can, and it's good, but don't feel like it's the only way to play it. I've definitely had some Fast 8 Primordian games that I'm pretty happy with. Oracle, like I talked about, that's Tom Kench. Every 3 rounds gains a reward. Psionic, this is gain items. And the thing to note here is the 2-piece, very valuable. You gain an item, can be put on anyone. The 4-piece is gain a second item, which is still good. The 4-piece, though, is where you start wanting to go, okay, it should actually be psionic carries, because the items gain an extra effect on psionic units at 4.
What the fuck,
Now, a
man?
common thing I've seen, for example, is like you play 4 psionic.
We are almost done and my brain was fried half an hour ago. I have an information overload.
You put the AP carry item on like Sona, and then you put the tank item not on Gragas, even though it would give you the extra effect.
How much longer?
But just put it on like
30
your
minutes?
Tom Kench. You know, and so there's some cleverness you can do here. Don't be baited into feeling like you have to put the tank item on Gragas because he's psionic, for example. So some cool things you can do there. But again, 2 psionic, very valuable. Redeemer, as we talked about, extra AD and armor or attack speed, armor and MR for each trait active. Love that. Space Groove. This one's really weird. This is a very creative trait, but basically every Space Groove champion is either in the groove or not. When they're in the groove, they gain attack speed and health regen, and that number is based on how many Space Grooves you have. So for example, if you have like 7 Space Groove in, that number can be like 80% attack speed and 4% health regen.
It's pretty good.
Now, what determines if they're in the groove or not changes for each champion, right? So for example, with Teemo, it's if I have 5 stacks of my dot on them, I'm in the groove. Or I can't remember all of them, but they each have their own thing, which puts them in the groove or not. And for example, the 3-piece says they all start in the groove for 3 seconds, which can actually be really insane. Like if you're running 7, it's, hey, at the start of combat, all your Space Groove gain 80% attack speed. It's like, whoa, okay. But yeah, and the other weird thing about Space Groove to call out here, what you can do as a trick, is this does not say unique Space Groove. So for example,
Double trouble.
If you have an opener that's like 2 Nasuses, 2 Teemos, and a Gwen, it only has 3 Space Groove, but it's actually giving you 5 Space Groove units of attack speed and health regen. So something to consider there with Space Groove is you can do some tricks it's double trouble.
Yeah.
So, okay, Stargazer. I'm not going to go over each one of these too much, but basically, much like some of our Ionias and mutants of the past, every game it's different. And what's weird
I love that.
is every game that will change the hex formation on your board
like KDA
and the breakpoints, right? So you get some simple ones, for example, like Stargazer. And the other way Stargazer works that's important is the hexes themselves help everyone a little bit, and Stargazers a lot more, right?
Yeah.
So let's take Serpent, for example. Allies in empowered hexes gain 8% durability. That's all allies. So you play 3 Stargazer, all your allies that are standing in hexes, 8% durability.
Makes sense.
Then Stargazers in the hex also gain more durability, and they do their damage as poison damage, right? So for example, in today's playtest, I did this with Lulu carry, and Lulu was doing 30% extra damage as poison damage. Cool, but it won't do that to everything. So other ones, for example, are Huntress, which gives attack speed and heals your team. This is good for like Xayah. But there's also some really weird ones in Stargazer. The Mountain is going to be a very popular one, okay?
Seems like Guild.
The Mountain, for example, is every 5-player combat, you just gain a Stargazer emblem.
What the fuck?
And so the idea here is with the Mountain, you're building up the Mountain until eventually you can actually hit like 11 Stargazer and do some crazy stuff. So that's a pretty unique version. The Altar is actually only ever a 3. It can't go higher than 3. But as you kill units and things die, you sacrifice and build up to a level where it becomes more powerful in the late game. Pretty neat.
Okay, what the fuck?
Or the Medallion, which again can only ever be a 3-piece, but allies in the hex gain for each 3-star on your team. So this is one where it's like encouraging you to find a reroll line that you can pair well. So you could go like Primordian Stargazer and do some cool stuff there. The Fountain is a mana regen one, but it never really pushes you past 5. And then finally, we have the Boar, which is kind of like the Ionia Gold one, where it's basically you can generate some gold if you win the combat and try to snowball with the Boar. So,
Stargazer sounds
and again,
cool
each
as
formation is
fuck.
different, pretty cool. Finally, Timebreaker, we have The 2-piece, which, like I said, when you lose, gain a reroll. When you win, gain an XP core that you can sell. Pretty cool. But then when you have the 3-piece, you give your whole team 15% attack speed. So you can even go like, Riven plus Pantheon plus Milio and go 3 Timebreaker to give some extra attack speed. I don't usually find that worth it, but you can. And then the 4 pieces, they gain an additional 50%. This is where, again, like for Ezreal reroll, I think Ezreal reroll 4 Timebreaker is really good. So, all right, I'm going to go fast through the classes here. Bastion, Armor and MR, 2-piece is a good team-wide aura. Seems pretty good. Brawler, you're going to see a lot of Brawler. The only thing to call out here is the start, the 2-piece isn't flat. It's just percent.
Oh. I mean, that's
so
better, no?
That's changed, but otherwise Brawler is percent health like it has been.
That's better.
Challenger is they gain some attack speed. When the target dies, they dash and gain a burst of more for a little bit here. So Challengers are definitely very snowbally. Channeler. This one's interesting. Channelers gain 20% additional mana from all sources. So this is why I was saying like blue buff is really good on Channelers. But you can go Shojin. The only reason I don't like Shojin is because as they channel their spell, you're not taking advantage of the thing like Shojin.
Yeah.
But basically you get mana regen for your team and even more for the channelers. So for example, if you're running 4 Channeler, your channelers are getting 6 mana regen, which is pretty good. So, yeah. Okay, Fate Weavers. This is one of the complicated ones. Fate Weavers have innate precision. Even at 1, you do not need 2 for this. This is a little confusing. So Caitlyn, Twisted Fate, Corki, and Milio do not need IEJG for their stuff to crit because they have built-in precision. Okay? Now, the 2-piece is any chance effects on their abilities. So, for example, we talked about how Twisted Fate picked those cards. They'll be lucky. They're more likely to hit, things like that, so that makes them a little better. And then the 4 pieces, they gain extra crit chance and crit damage. So a 4-piece Twisted Fate 3, for example, is likely to roll higher numbers and hit really hard. I find 4 Fate Weaver to be something that you only play early and then you go back down to 2. But 2, very commonly, it's really good to play. A common case where I'll play 4 is if I'm playing like Milio reroll or Twisted Fate reroll and find an early Corki, and then my frontline. But later I'll have to like supplement more frontline, for example.
Okay.
Marauder is interesting in that it gives your team 5% Omnivamp. So 2 Marauder, pretty good to throw in for just that. But then in addition, the Marauders gain even more Omnivamp and AD, as they're all AD champions. Replicators, as we talked about, basically their spell casts a second time instantly. It's instant, so they don't lose any damage. So for example, Lulu shoots down a meteor, but instead there will be a second meteor, and that second meteor is at like 25% or 50% strength. But again, the fact that it will pick a different target often is really important, and so I find 2 Replicator to be very valuable. Rogue, as I mentioned, this one's really good because rogues gain AD and AP, but the first time they fall below half health, they slip into the shadows. Basically, with the 2 Rogue, you're getting Edge of Night kind of built into the champion, which is really valuable. So I find 2 Rogue to be something I actually like playing a lot of. But if you go all the way up to 5 Rogue, like 60 AD and AP on 5 units that also have built-in Edge of Night, not bad. Not bad. So definitely an interesting spin on the assassin type. Definitely let us know what you think of Rogue. All right, Shepherd. Like I said, we haven't done this in a long time, but the summon trait is on the classes, not the origins. But basically, 3-piece is a summon, and it's one of those things where like you can't itemize it. But the 3-piece, the thing to note about the summon is it's a health bar, and it will also give your team some AP, which is good. Cool. The 5-piece, it'll actually do some damage as well. And then if you have an emblem, it does require an emblem, you can get up to the 7-piece. And the 7-piece is where it's like, okay, I'm playing a Shepherd comp. This is really good. There's definitely a lot of cool things you can do with 3 and 5, but 7 will feel like a Shepherd comp. So definitely check that out. Sniper, pretty standard. Do extra damage based on how far away they are. Vanguard, pretty standard as well. Gain shields when they get low, gain another shield. Pretty cool. And then Voyager, as I described, your tanks and fighters gain a shield for 15 seconds. Your other allies gain damage amp, and Voyagers gain double. So again, kind of that flex strategist kind of thing we've seen. So, okay, there are champs and traits. I probably talked too long. There are 2 more things we should talk about, the mechanic and augments. I'm going to try to go through this quick. First, let's talk about the mechanic. Okay? So, the mechanic, the way it works, is at the start of the game, you are going to see two gods. Okay? So let's say for the first game, we see Ari and Aurelian Soul. Okay? And it'll tell you it's an Ari game and an Aurelian Soul game. Okay. Great. Easy enough.
So is this like instead of the opening encounters? I don't know.
Then when you get to the first carousel on stage 2, it's gone and instead replaced with the Realm of the Gods. At which point you will get one of Ari's stage 2 choices and one of Aurelian Soul's stage 2 choices as your two options, each with a component. So let me give you an example. You might have to choose between either 8 XP and a bow, or when you reach 50 gold, gain a component anvil and 4 gold, plus a sword. Okay? And so you have to look at those and decide based on your position which one you want to take. So like,
so this is like augments with extra steps.
You just want the 8 XP right now and like be aggressive, or maybe you're on a lost streak with 30 gold and you're like, well, I'll hit 50 gold soon. So you take, let's say you take Aurelian Soul. And obviously you're going to have to weigh the items that come with them. Now the items that come with them are not the same for every player. They're actually pulling from your item bag. So hopefully it's more likely to give you items that you kind of need already. But, you know, that might make your decision, right? And Nico, for example, when he plays, very commonly is just like, I just pick the item component I need and I don't worry too much about the god effect. But you can go either way. And so you'll have to make a decision. So let's say you pick Aurelian.
But the last one is 4-7. So what's on stage 5, 6, and 7 carousel?
Soul. And what that does is that's going to give you a single...
I guess it's still stage 4 one.
Aurelian Soul stamp. Okay, so you've aligned with Aurelian Soul for stage 2. Great. Game keeps playing out. You get to stage 3. On stage 3, we make another choice. And so maybe this time it's 8 gold plus a rod, or star up a unit to get 10 gold and a armor. Okay? And you're like, well, I've already kind of hit my pairs. I'm not going to star up anything soon. Just give me the 8 gold now. And I need the rod. So you pick Ari. So now you have an Aurelian Soul stamp and an Ari stamp, which means you've aligned with each god once. Let's say you had picked Aurelian Soul. Well, now you'd be aligned with Aurelian Soul. Okay? And this will matter on 4-7. We do this one more time on stage 4's carousel. So stage 4, now Aurelian Soul only has one right now, which is reach level 9 to get 20 gold, but maybe you're playing reroll. And so the choices are actually 8 rerolls or reach level 9 to get 20 gold. And you're like, well, I'm playing reroll, just give me the rerolls. So now you went Aurelian Soul, Ari, Ari. Okay, cool. Then on 4-7, because you chose Ari twice, you've aligned with Ari. And what you're going to see is a Treasure Dragon-like armory where you can roll like 3 components. And you are going to get a 4th augment, which is Ari's augment. And this is actually out of date. I think Ari's augment is now just like gain 6 XP a turn and something else. But you'll get their augment. And so part of this is actually sort of planning like, hey, I'm playing this type of comp. I really want Aurelian Soul's 4-7 augment. I might need to lean towards an Aurelian Soul choice at some point. So all of that is, you know, again, choose your God A, God B, God C, whichever one you've aligned with, you get their 4th augment. That's the high level, okay? Now I'm going to walk you through sort of some of the touch points of each. Ari is your basic econ resources god. If it's an Ari game, resources will be a little higher, just a little, than normal. Again, now the ones you see here that say maybe +1, this is actually my fault, hilariously enough, because the documents we gave them were shorthand from my notes, and I didn't have much room in the spreadsheet. What this actually says is, I believe it's gain 6 gold. If 4 other players take this, gain an additional gold. And so there's actually this aspect of like how many other people are going to take it. Now we've actually changed it since the influencer playtest also, where you can't see the choice other people make until they make it. There's no gaming the system that way.
Okay, nice. That's good.
But, you know, it's like, hey, you might get tempted if like more people take this, you can get more gold. But Ari's pretty simple. And then again, her effect has changed, but her effect will basically allow you to get more XP And so she doesn't give any combat power. That's one of the dangerous things about Ari, is there's no combat power built into hers. Okay?
Please,
Excuse me, I've been
PB's
talking
up.
a lot. And, okay, I gotta go fast. I'm running out of time. Aurelian's Soul is all about quests. He's going to give you quests that are hard to do but have a higher peak, right? So, for example, when we talked about if 8 XP is the baseline, well, a component amble and 4 gold is way better than 8 XP, but you have to do something first, right? And so Aurelian's Soul is going to be all about quests for power. That's going to be his whole shtick. You can see some of the options. Now, his 4-7 choice, there's basically 3 choices, and I want to frame it to you. His first choice is actually weak. It'll give it to you instantly, but it is like the weakest of the options. So if you're in a situation where you're starting to lose the game and you know you're going to be low health, I would stay away from Aurelian Soul's boon. Okay? The second choice, I believe, is like gain some combat power and some gold after 3 rounds. Right? So you have to make it to 5-3 before you can really benefit from Aurelian Soul. But if you do, it's actually pretty strong. So it's like, okay, cool. That's the standard option. I expect like 90%, 95% even of Aurelian Soul games to be that second choice. The third choice basically says, hey, if you are strong enough right now that you can play without a boon for 8 rounds, I will give you the strongest boon in the game. And I believe the one that's going to PBE is you get +1 of every trait in the game. It's basically one of those like insane things. And so if somehow you're like 90 HP and think you're strong enough to make it to that, that's when you should pick that third option. So, cool. Echo is the god of time. The general idea is he brings back things from the past or makes you wait for things. So generally his offerings will be a little more powerful, but you have to wait for them. For example, an artifact in 8 rounds on stage 2. Okay, that does mean you're playing down like the 8 gold that Ari could have given you, but later you're going to get something really powerful. I actually really like this one. On stage 2, you can get a 4 cost in 3 rounds. That's pretty neat, so you can get some direction. Some other ones to call out here, Scuttle Puddle. Now, when you see Scuttle Puddle, your brain might think, ooh, Scuttle Puddle, that's really good. It's only about +9 gold of power, so don't like freak out. But it is still like a little delayed power, which is really good. So, cool. Some other ones are like the Implant, which you can give a unit 20% attack speed. That came from like Cyber City, completed item anvils. And then Echo's boon is actually a really good one. So if you lean towards Echo, I think you'll be happy with it. You get an anomaly item that changes effects based on the roll. So for example, if you put it on a tank, it gives a bunch of HP. If you put it on a mana user, they gain like AP per cast. So think of it as +1 really powerful, unique item that you can put on anybody. Evelyn is my favorite god. Evelyn is powerful rewards at a cost. And this one's interesting where, again, it shorthanded it. But, for example, this first one is 8 gold. So imagine you have Ari and Evelyn next to each other. Ari says 6 gold. Evelyn says 8 gold, but lose 1 HP for every player who took this. And so what'll happen is, like, if you get 8 greedy players, you all take this, and everyone loses 8 HP.
Okay.
Which is really funny. Or 2 lesser duplicators, which is really good early, but you don't get a shot for 2 rounds, right? You pay a price for hers. One of my favorites here is the stage 3 one, where you get a 3-star 1 cost and lose 2 HP. I love that one. I'm like, a free random 3-star 1 cost? Let's go. And so Evelyn, I think, has some really fun ones. But even her boon is really dangerous at the end, where your team gains 10% durability, but anytime you lose a combat from the rest of the game, you're going to lose an additional health. So pretty dangerous. I like hers. Kale is one of the standard games. If you see a Kale game and you're like somebody who really likes base TFT, it's a Kale game. Kale is basically just more items. And so every Kale choice is going to be like, do you want, again, using Ari as the baseline, do you want 8 XP or an extra random component? Okay, great. And you'll notice these are all just component, right? Kale games are really good if you know you want to build a dual carry kind of game. So pretty cool. The only drawback is I think Kale's boon is one of the weaker ones. All it does is it upgrades one of your items on bench or on board, so you can't game this in any way, randomly into a Radiant. You don't get to pick which one. So
kind of sucks.
being +1 radiant. It's like almost like a masterwork upgrade that you didn't get to pick. So, but you are up like 3 components from picking Kale a bunch. So, Soraka is all about healing. So you can see here, when it says 8 HP, it's literally like little legend HP. So like you can go from 100 to 108. Soraka games tend to be the longest games because a bunch of people are gaining extra HP.
Makes sense.
In addition, like I said, these are really good for anima games. You're going to see a lot of people trying to play anima to greed that out. But so it's not always HP, right? Sometimes it might just be a giant's belt or an implant, which gives health. So one of the things that can actually backfire is if you're like, oh, it's a Soraka game, I'm going to hard force anima, and then you get like giant's belt into implant, and you're like, uh-oh, that's not great. But then in addition, her boon is your team gains health based on each missing tactician's health, and that is missing from the base. And then +1 current and max health each round. So you could actually have this boon be like plus, 190, 200 health in the late game. So it's a little combat power and delay your death a little bit. Thresh. Thresh is one that I think, I don't know, I'll see what people think. But the TLDR here is Thresh is random. And when it says random +2, like there's 2 types. There's random loot, which is basically just like, here, have some champions. Here, have some items. Here, have some whatever. Or there's literally random boon. And what that means is pick from any other, even the gods not in the game, a 2-cost or random boon from their stage 2. So this might randomly pick a sparring glove, or it might randomly pick a 2-star 2-cost and you lose 1 HP. And yes, it can give you the penalties of them. So, but because it gives you that extra gold, I actually think this will end up a lot like the Destiny augments at the start of 13 or 16, where I think this is going to be like very popular early, and we may even have to pull back on the gold a little, but I think people will pick this a lot. And then his boon is actually one of my favorites, which is for the rest of the game, every turn he rolls a dice. A 1, for example, is like gain 5 gold. A 3, for example, is like your team gains 50 permanent health, and the augment will show how much stats you've accrued. And a 6 is like an extra component and some gold. And so like over time, if you can last to like 6-2, 6-3, Thresh's boon becomes the most powerful because you look at everything you've got and you're like, this is crazy. But it starts off weak. And so Thresh is one that you don't want to necessarily align with unless you know you can last a while to take advantage of his boon. Varus is all about like duplicating and making more champions and love and stuff like that. So for example, when it says a 2 and a 3 cost here, the thing it's not saying is a 2 and a 3 cost that share a trait. And so you can use this to like get a start, or 2 tiny duplicators if you're playing like a 1-cost reroll. If you see Varus a lot of the times, a Varus game kind of says like you might want to consider rerolling, but not force it, because sometimes it's stuff that aren't necessarily to your liking, right? Like if you're like, oh, it's a Varus game, I'm going to play a 1-cost reroll, and then you get owned 3 costs. Well, that didn't help you, So just be careful.
Okay, that sounds
one of my favorite ones here is the 1 lesser duplicator and 5 tiny duplicators on stage 4, so that you can like quickly turn one of your 1-cost.
Wait, tiny duplicator is only on 1 cost, right?
Forward. Like I love this when playing Nova, and then you get your Aatrox to 3-star real quick, and like that's pretty cool. And his boon is a combat power one that basically says gain 10 health for each total star level in your army, and increase your 5-cost odds by 4%. So that's kind of a neat one. Yasuo is probably a standard combat power one.
Ooh, I love the hexes.
He gives you hexes. And the hexes are cool because you get them as, a paintbrush, so you can put them where you want them. You're not stuck in like bad positions.
Okay, that's nice.
The names have changed since then. So for example, there's no wood hex, it's called cosmic hex. But cosmic hex is my favorite because it's like stacking HP every turn. So like you get Cho'Gath plus cosmic hex, and now he's like double stacking HP, which is really cool. But each of these is a neat combat power. And then at 4/7, all of those hexes are going to get increased by 50%. And that what you're thinking is like, well, that means I have to pick 3 hexes. Well, if you only pick 2 hexes, you'll at least get 12 gold in addition.
Okay.
But that's a pretty cool thing. And so those are the gods. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
9,
6,
right?
7, 8, 9. Different combinations each game. Overall,
okay, that sounds interesting.
It's a pretty light touch mechanic, but can help lean you in certain directions and make certain choices. Now, from there, what happens?
Yeah, it's pretty inoffensive mechanic, but it's kind of interesting in theory. I'll have to see how it plays.
By the way, is on the stage 5 and 6 carousel, those are gone. You'll simply just get an armory that shows you 3 full items and a random emblem.
Okay.
It's just +1 full item. So something to note here is that stage 5 and 6, being the losing player, no longer has any advantage. And that's the last thing I'll talk about with the mechanic. I tweeted about this, but basically, because there's no carousel, there's nothing, like being an 8th on the Realm of the God doesn't do anything. What happens is on the PBE rounds, every PBE round is guaranteed to drop at least 2 components for everybody. But the components for 7th and 8th, 2 of them will be anvils instead. So it gives you a little
For
more...
7th and 8th place, you get from what? Anvils. What the fuck? Okay, so it's still good to lose streak, I guess.
Agency in your items, but only stage 2 and 3 really, because stage 4 is the 4-7 choice, so nothing really changes there. So basically, if you're lost streaking stage 2, you can expect a few extra anvils. If you're lost streaking stage 3, you can expect a few extra anvils. But otherwise, there's not as much advantage to losing this set. You also get some reforgers as well if you're in like 3rd or 4th. But just something to be aware of. But yeah, that's kind of the mechanic for the set. Cool. Last thing we'll talk about here, and I'm not going to go over all of them, but is some of the new augments. And so, again, I won't go over all of them, but we have some hero augments for tanks like Poppy, Aatrox, Nasus, charge transfer, which is all about overkill damage. Let's see. This one's interesting.
33.
Forge a Friend, it's at 4-2. But allows you to buy a 1-cost champion and turn them into 3-star if you want something for your comp that you may have missed earlier. Cognitive Tax is literally my team trolling you guys. Gain 8 gold and 1 XP. The 1 XP is just so that you're like annoyed of the fact you have an odd number of XP for the rest of the game. But it's not that bad because you can just play Timebreaker to get 1 XP and fix it. So it actually ends up being like 1 gold over budget. I personally believe Kickstart is like insane. Gain a random 2-star 2-cost on 2-1 and 1 gold. It's basically Warpath, but without the back end. But as a tempo player, I think Kickstart is bonkers. Feeling Lucky. If this hits heads, you're like 2 gold over budget. If this hits tails, you're like 1 gold under budget. So just a fun little bet there. The Expedition Augment. This one will be the most interesting. I talked about this on Froden's stream. But basically, you have to keep feeding units to it every turn. You almost like want to feed a 3-cost every turn if you can. It kills your econ, right? So you're basically saying, I'm going to like lost streak and really struggle in the early game. But once you complete it, the payoff is like more than a prismatic level augment. It is pretty bonkers. So definitely try this one out, but only from a spot that you're like pretty comfortable.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick it in go 8. I can see it.
Let's see here. Anima Commanders, your chance to like play Anima, much like the Ishtal one right now. Something to note here is it's listing a couple trait ones, like Sniper's Nest. Those are not in the set yet. We're actually going to ship those later as things go on. Gragas has a hero augment. Pike actually has a hero augment, which is interesting. There's the Zed one we talked about.
There is so many hero augments this set.
Meepsy has a hero augment. Jax has a hero augment.
Holy shit.
Okay, Booster Pack. Booster Pack is a fun one from Kent here. Basically, there are 3 booster packs, a 2-1, a 3-2, and a 4-2. And you should think of them as econ augments, because they're basically, here's some champions. But, like any booster pack, you can have some high rolls, right? So, like, a booster pack on 2-1, if you have a crazy high roll, could give you a 2-star 3-cost. That seems good.
Yeah.
And in addition, I don't know if I should tell you this and let you guys figure this out on your own, but there are special rewards in these booster packs sometime. And when I say special, don't keep your expectations low. But like, what would a foil card look like in a booster pack? Well, what's a foil champion look like? So there's some weird stuff that can happen here.
You get Zed.
Booster packs a lot of fun. I think Kent put a lot of love into these, so definitely give them a try, and tell everyone about the type of booster packs you get. There's some fun surprises in there. Some combat stuff. Frontline Foundation's a cool one. Gain a 2-star 1-cost tank and an emblem for their listed trait, stuff like that.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
What the fuck is Kahuna? What the fuck is that?
Some pretty good stuff. 5-pointed star, I believe, actually got cut, so I don't know if that's in there. Baron's Lair is the one we talked about. Not a lot of new prismatics right
Nah,
now.
that's a shame.
Flip a coin. This one's even changed since then. Flip a coin. If heads, gain a radiant lucky item chest. If tails, I believe it's gain 2 full items. So there's some risk actually in Golden Gamble now. But yeah, so there you go.
Holy
That's everything
fuck.
for now. I got to wrap this up. There's obviously all the new cosmetics as well. PBE should be going live soon. Hopefully you guys enjoy. But there you go. Space Gods. Lots of cool stuff.
Oh my
So,
god.
cool. Hopefully this video is not too scuffed.
My
Okay,
brain.
that's going to do it for me. I got to get back to work. Hopefully you guys enjoy, and we'll see you for 4 months of Space Gods. That's going to do it for me. Until next time.
Take it easy.
Take it easy.
Thank you, more dog. My brain is fucking fried. Holy shit, that was a lot of information. Okay, let me see if I can log in. I don't really want to leak anything. I'm still here. I didn't go anywhere. But we'll see if the PB is up. My brain is fried, but it's like a good fry. I like a lot of units and traits. Mechanic is relatively interesting. Now, I just have to see. There is no more dog. Tweet. He said something's wrong. See if people on Twitch are streaming or something. Okay, so nobody is playing set 17, so that means it's not live yet. So that's a shame. Yep. Makes sense. So now what? Now what? Now what? I can just go to tactics tools, I guess. Set 17 update and like read on the champions by myself, I guess. But first I need to get some water, go to the restroom, be right back. Okay, so now what? Now I just wait. Now I just wait. I guess I can read this. So this was posted like what, 7 hours ago? PBE should be up in the next 6 or 7 hours, which means it's time for my list of things you should know if you plan on participating in PBE. Here we go. Number 1. Don't fall for Robin's songs or anyone else's retweeting on all tweets saying PBE is up. Wait for an official Space God PBE is up post. Don't let them get away with it. There will be bugs, please report them on the various social media platforms and the team will be getting them fixed quickly. PBE helps us get the last bit of polish and the edge cases solved, so thank you for reporting them. The balance won't be perfect. Please feel free to pass on feedback around units that are too strong or too weak. But also be aware that it can take a while for people to truly understand the power of things, figure out BIS and whatnot. Don't overreact. If you take the booster pack augment and low roll, blame Kent. Be sure to tweet at him. He wants to know every time this augment is taken. Each morning I'll be doing posts around the changes you can expect each day. Those changes happen around noon PST each day when the PB goes down. This happens Monday to Friday, not on weekends. Have fun. It's another new set of TFT and it's a great time to join. Be welcoming to anyone who is diving in and let's explore the space gods together. TFT is great community and game, so let's keep that. Okay, that's it for now. On behalf of the entire TFT team, thanks for the participation in PvP. And can't wait for you to enjoy the set. Have fun and take it easy. I'm 34 years old. I'm done with that stupid PvE prank. Yeah, we'll see about that. What else did Mordor post? Is now available on PBE. Good luck and have fun. Okay, apparently there are connection issues. For your information, looks like issues are going to take a bit to fix. If you're hovering, waiting for it to come up, I'd recommend coming back up in a couple of hours. Okay, so this was the last update, right? Yep. Okay. I guess I'll go through tactics.tools thingy. Set mechanic realm of the gods. Set 70's set mechanic is a celestial marketplace that showcases the gods' offerings to players, replacing TFT's traditional carousel this set. At the beginning of every game, 2 gods are randomly selected and travel to the realm of the gods to tempt the player and provide rewards. In the middle of stage 2, 3 and 4, players will travel back to the realm where they will be able to select between an offering presented by each of the 2 gods. After selecting a god offering, Pengo will also provide gifts based on your current lobby placement. Align with a specific god by choosing their offering from the realm at least 2 times on these stages. On 4-7, your favorite god will bless you with a special boon effect, unique only to them in the middle of each stage for the rest of the game. Your god will only return to offer more rewards to choose from. Space god will be available. Yeah. Gameplay. Ari, gold XP, rerolls gold. Gold, rerolls XP, gold. Gold, rerolls. Gain 2 gold XP, 2 rerolls. God of Opulence. I don't even know what opulence means. God of Wonders. Reach 50 gold to gain component animal plus 4 gold. Field 6 non-unique traits to get a random emblem and a reforger. Start up a unit to get 10 gold. Field 6 non-unique traits to get a random emblem and a reforger. 6 non-unique traits. Okay, reach level 9 to get 20 gold. Choose one of the 3 trials to prove yourself to Realm Soul. God of Time. Scuttle Puddle. Blessing at 30 HP. Spat in 4 rounds. Artifact in 8 rounds. Forecast in 3 rounds. Scuttle Puddle Implant. What the fuck is an implant? 2-star 5 cast. No, 2 5 casts in 4 rounds. Component Anvil in 3 rounds. Artifact in 5 rounds. Complete Anvil. 2 gold every turn. Full 5 cast. Gain the anomaly item which provides unique bonuses based on the roll. Evelyn, God of Temptation. 8 gold, lose 1 HP per. Just per. 2-star 2 cost, minus 1 HP. 2 lesser dupes, no shop 2 rounds. 11 gold, lose 1 HP. Random emblem, minus 3 HP. 15 gold and no shop 2 rounds. 2-star 3 cost, minus 2 HP. 3-star 1 cost, 2 HP. Stage 4, 14 gold, lose 1 HP. 2-star 4 cost and minus 3 HP. This is tempting. Completed item, minus 5 HP. What the fuck? 18 gold, no shops for 2 rounds. 4-7. Your team gains 10% durability, lose an additional 1 health when you lose combat. God of Order. Component, glove, so just a bunch of components. Aggregate random item to Radiant. God of Stars. 8 HP, maybe 3 gold. 12 HP, Giant's Belt, 8 HP, 12, blah 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 blah. Team gains 2 HP per missing tradition health, plus 1 current and max tradition health each round. Random. After each player combat, gain a reward. Okay, so Trash so far is really good, Evelyn is good. 2 and 3 cast, own 3 casts, 2 tiny dupes, 3 casts, 3 and 4 cast, lesser dupe, own 3 cast, 4 cast shops. 4 and 5 cast, lesser dupe, 1 lesser blah blah blah. Your team gains 10 health for each total star level in your army. God of the Abyss, Fire Hex. Okay, this one is also interesting. Units. Let me go over traits first, actually. I want to read those. So before, let's check. No update. After losing a player combat, gain 15 tech, plus additional tech equal to 5 times the length of your loss streak. So 6 loss is 30. Additionally, gain 2 tech per anima. Each time animals get 100 tech, they prototype new anima weapon. You can take them or save your tech to get more powerful weapons next time. Start researching, gain a loot orb upon win. And we have Briar, Jinx, Aurora, Ilaoi, and Fiora. Arbiter. Scribe a unique divine law, allowing you to choose an effect to apply to arbiters when a chosen cause occurs. Choose a cause and effect for your law. Effects are stronger. Placeable, that's Shen, right? Yeah. Placeable relic. At start of the combat, it grants adjacent allies 18% max shield and 20% attack speed. Cool. Sona gives you random command mod every 2 rounds, which allows you to alter the way an ally behaves during combat. Combat mods last 2 player combats even if they are not equipped. Dark Lady. Allies take 5% less damage from abilities, increased to 10% while Morgana is in dark form. So when she ults. Dark Star. Dark Star create a black hole that consumes enemies at 10% max health. That sounds so fucking broken. And then at 4 piece they gain 30% AD and AP. At 6 piece, the strongest Dark Star unit goes super massive, gaining 100% effectiveness from Dark Star, and creates 2 minor black holes. I don't get it. 2 minor black holes? Isn't this like the board-wide effects? I don't know. And then the prismatic is all dark stars are supermassive at level 10, consume everyone. Divine Duelist, you heal for 15% of your player damage you deal. So that's tactician health, right? Doomer. Combat start, mark all enemies with Doom. The first time enemies are damaged each combat, their Doom is consumed, stealing 8% AD and ability power from them and granting it to your strongest Vex. Eradicator. Enemies have 14% less armor and magic resist. Factory New. After participating in combat, open an armory to purchase a permanent upgrade for your strongest graves. Every 3 upgrades, future upgrades will take an additional round. Z is obtained from the Invader Z augment. While at least one clone is alive, Z gains 40% bonus AD. When you feel the misfortune, choose between Channeler mode, Challenger mode, and Replicator mode. Misfortune has a unique ability based on her mode and gains the associated trait. Mecha. Innate. Mecha units can transform into their ultimate form, upgrading their ability and gaining 60% health. Transformed mechas take up 2 team slots and count twice for the mecha trait. At 3, mechas gain 20% ADAP. At 4, this is increased to 35%. Precision engineering +1 max team size. Okay. Let's see if there is any updates. Nope. Meeple. Astronauts attract meeps that empower astronaut abilities in a meepy ways. They also gain bonus health. Who the fuck are the astronauts? I guess these guys are the astronauts. Empower astronaut abilities in a meepy ways. They also gain bonus health. Create a cloning slot on your bench, gaining gold and 1-star copy of the champion placed there when cloning completes. Summon the 4 Meep Lords. Noah. 6 seconds into the combat, Noah grant a power surge to allies based on champions. So to all allies? So if I have Aatrox, everyone shreds and sunders. And Caitlyn gets attack speed. And 5, you just buff one of them. Even more. Caitlyn gets attack speed. Akali gains spell crit. Allies heal 15% max health. That's cool. Shield the strongest tank for 800. Allies deal 10% stacking bonus damage. Once per combat, after falling below 45% health, become untargetable and repair 15% max health per second. Upon reaching full health, or when no other allies remain, return to combat. If fully healed, for the rest of the combat, Blitzcrank is in the groove and the party crashes. Passive fires bolts 4 times as fast. Bro, my brain is fried. Primordian. Dealing damage spawns swarmlings based on Primordian star level. At 3, spawn even more swarmlings. Each round, gain a random 1 or 2 cast champion. 8% of the damage taken contributes to the damage dealt. 3 rounds, get a reward, cool. Psionic. Gain psionic items that can be equipped to any ally. 1 item, 2 items. Psionic items gain extra effect on psionic units. For each non-unique trait you have active, your team gains, okay. Groovians can enter the groove. While in it, they gain attack speed and max health regen. Increased per Groovian on your team. All Groovians are combating the groove for 3 seconds. Each second spent in the groove grants 3% stacking AD and ability power. Increase these effects by 20% in the groove. Oh, just the groove, sorry. Stargazer is so fucking cool, man. Stargazers chart a different constellation every game. The Serpent, allies in the empowered hexes, gain 8% durability. Stargazers gain more and poison enemies, repeating a portion of the damage dealt as magic damage over 3 seconds. Okay. Huntress. Mark the highest health enemies. Allies in empowered hexes gain 15% attack speed. Stargazers in the empowered hexes gain more and heal for 10% of their max health when a marked enemy dies. The Mountain. Every 5-player combats gain a Stargazer emblem. Stargazers in empowered hexes gain various bonuses. 15 health, AD, armor, magic resist, attack speed, durability, increase all bonuses. I can see the summit, almost there. The stars beckon all enemies. Cool. The altar. When any unit dies, they are sacrificed to the altar. Allies in the empowered hexes gain 10% health and 15% attack speed. After 60 sacrifices, Stargazers in empowered hexes gain an additional 25% health and 40% attack speed. Holy fuck, I'm... wow. Stargazers chart a different constellation every game. Oh, that's literally the same. Medallion. Allies in the empowered hexes gain 15% damage amp, which increases by 3% for each 3-star on your team. The Fountain. Allies in the empowered hexes gain 1 mana regen. Stargazers in empowered hexes gain more and heal the lowest health ally with their abilities. I will never remember these. The Boar. Gain golden win. Allies in empowered hexes gain 8% health at AD and ability power. Stargazers gain more. And then the Time Breaker. When you lose, gain free reels. When you win, store XP. And allies gain 50% attack speed, I'm pretty sure. Your team gains 12 armor and magic resist. Bastions gain more and the value doubles in the first 10 seconds of the combat. Non-bastions gain additional. Okay. Your team gains 7% health, brawlers gain more. Pretty simple. Your team gains 10% attack speed. Challengers gain bonus attack speed. When their target dies, challengers dash to a new target and increase their attack speed bonus by 50% for 2.5 seconds. Channeler. Gain 20% additional mana from all sources. Your team gains mana regen increase for channelers. Fate of Weaver have precision. Chance effects on abilities are lucky. Gain 20% crit chance and 10% crit damage. Marauder. Your team gains 5% Omnivamp. Marauders gain more Omnivamp attack damage and their Omnivamp overheals is converted into shield. Replicator's ability occur a second time at reduced strength. 25% strength, 50 strength. So this is like the mage light. Rogues gain AD and ability power. The first time they fall below 50% health, they slip into shadows. Enemies targeting them are redirected to a nearby unit preferring tanks. Shepherd. Shepherds summon the Bond of the Stars to aid them in battle. Summon Bia. Summoned by Yin. Grows deeper. Total solid level. Okay. Gain damage amp increased against the targets further away. Vanguards gain 5% damage reduction while shielded. Combat start and 50% health. Gain a max health shield for 10 seconds. Voyager. Your tanks and fighters gain a shield for 15 seconds. Your other allies gain damage amp. Oh, that's the strategist. Now let me see who is in every trade, because I didn't do that. Anima. We have Briar, Jinx, Aurora, Ilaoi, and Fiora. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 1, 2, 3, 3, 5. Anima, Primordial Rogue, Anima, Challenger, Voyager. Okay, Arbiter, Leona, Arbiter Vanguard, Arbiter Channeler, Arbiter Challenger. No, Channeler and Challenger. These are not the same. Shepherd. This guy's Bastion, right? She is Shepherd. Dark Lady is just Dark Lady. Dark Star. Dark Star Brawler. Dark Star Shepherd Replicator. Dark Star Channeler Vanguard. Dark Star Rogue. Dark Star Voyager. Dark Star Eradicator Sniper. Voyager, what the fuck is Voyager? I can't remember shit. I cannot remember shit, man. What the fuck is a Voyager? Where is the Voyager? Oh, it's in the classes, right? Oh. Okay. Mecha. Brawler, Marauder. Channeler. Voyager. Bastion. Replicator. Sniper. Shepherd. Voyager. Rogue. Fate Weaver. Bastion. Channeler. Bastion? Wait, was there another channeler here? No, it was not. Noah. Bastion, Fate Weaver, Marauder, Brawler, Challenger. Oh my god, my brain is fried. Can I just play some TFT, please? Mordog, come on, Mordog. Oh my god. Couple of hours. It's been a couple of hours, man. It's been a couple of hours. Nope, don't let me in. Uh, Nope, still nothing new. Still nothing new. Let's see if there are any new items. Timebreaker trait. Psionic. Sona. Augments. Tacticians. Look at this arena, looks sick. What the fuck? Wow. Gameplay. What the fuck do I do now, man? I want to play some set 17. Am I asking for too much? Team builder. So let's say I want to play Karma. Karma is a Voyager. So I could play Pike, Meepsy, Mighty Mech. I guess I can play Mighty Mech. And then could I make other Mighty Mech, Karma. I guess I also want Dark Star, right? I guess Jean would be the best ones for 2 Dark Star. And then one more Mecha or some shit. Aurelian Soul. What the fuck is Aurelian Soul? He's a channeler. Oh god. I can't do this. My brain is fried. Team builder. Karma. Who is the best Voyager? Mighty Mech. So that's 3 units, right? I also want Dark Star. I could play this and random Brawler also. That's an option. Lysandra. Channeler. Wait. Isn't this guy Channeler? No, he's Eradicator. What's this mean? Oh, nope. Mouse hover info. What is positioning mode? Sure. So that's 2 Voyager. I guess the highest cap would be Jin. And then I guess I would want another sniper. So what, I play Zaya or Samira? Say I play Zaya. And then I play one more mecha. So let's say I play this guy, that's 3 mecha, because this guy is 2. Then let's say I also want a brawler, so I play Tam Kench. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units. And then like maybe a Marauder. Do I give a fuck about Marauder? Probably not. Like a random 5 cost, like this could be a board, I guess. This could be a board. It's 3 mecha. What is Stargazer again? Oh, it's the thingy. The fuck is this? Golem, dummy, Nunu. Cool, I guess. Clear board. Let's see. Corky. Fate Weaver. Let's say I want to play 2 Fate Weavers. Who is the next best one? Timebreaker, Fate Weaver, Stargazer. Stargazer could be interesting. Let's go with Stargazer, I guess. Meeple. I guess I want some meeples for Corky, right? So who would be the best meepers? I mean, probably Bard. Ramos in the front. Bard. So now what? Now I need a Bastion. I mean, I'm just going for the highest cap, so it would be Shen and a Channeler. I could play this and Sona. Where the fuck is Sona? And that's a board. 2, 4, 6, 7 units. So 2 more. Maybe Stargazers, depending on what the bonus are. Okay, what next? Mighty Max. He's just a default frontliner, right? I can basically play them whatever. Karma, I've been through. Kindred. He's a challenger, so what? I could play Diana. Belvet. I'm probably not playing Jinx because that's I mean, you could if you're playing Anima, but let's say you're not playing Anima, you can only play Belvet or Diana. Let's say I go with Diana. What is Arbiter even? Divine Law. Cool. Leona, one cost. LeBlanc is AP carry. Sure. Let's do one Nova randomly, I don't know. Kindred. Is there a frontliner Nova? Maokai. And then Brawler. I guess Tam Kench. Is there a Shepherd Brawler? Fuck. Shepherd Brawler? No. No. There is Primordium. Brawler. I mean, I could just play Urgot and the mech. Like this can also be a board. That's 3 mecha, right? Because this guy counts as 2, so that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units again. Marauder for Urgot, I don't think it would be worth. Shepherd is whatever. I guess Voyager again. So like what I put in the random karma. 3, 6, 7, 8, and then just play Darkstar unit. Bruh. Mordog, please. And fuck. Do they have any comps? What about TFT Academy? Do they have any comps already built for set 17? They do not. They do not. Okay. What the fuck do I do, man? Do I play some ARAM? I guess I could play some ARAMs. Let me just not leak my my fucking passwords and shit. So I'll be right back. I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm still here. Don't worry. Don't worry. We'll get there. Okay. There is also an update here. What the fuck? Updates everywhere. just want to play some TFT. Okay. Oh wow, that is loud. What the fuck? We just do this way lower. 2%. We are having trouble talking to some league servers. Of course, it wouldn't be a league experience otherwise. There we go. I guess I'll just play some ARAM until PBE is up. Some ARAM mayhem. New missions. Win a game. Demacia Rising. I'll play that. Probably next patch. Probably next patch. Okay, I have to wait until the last second in case there is a PBE update. There is not. Cool. Nunu and Willamp or Lee Sin. Nunu is so fun. Man, these champions kind of suck. I could go for Ash. Oh, I cannot. I was too late. I guess I'll play Nunu. I'm always inting with Nunu though. I could go Poppy and just go full tank pocket. We do need tank. We do need tank, so it is what it is. Okay, okay. Meat Maker Gin. Holy shit, my ping is 600. Wow. How the fuck am I gonna play like this? My ping is 6 fucking hundred, man. I did not expect that.
Yay, more stuff.
Fuck me, man.
One time I thought I found the hero, but he died.
Oh my god. Holy shit, this is like playing drunk.
I'm in 100%. That's everything, right?
Bro, my internet fucking sucks.
Some things are too important to give up on.
Okay, nice. Jesus Christ. I flashed, but I didn't flash. Wow, this is unplayable. I did not expect this high of a ping. What the fuck? That's crazy, man. Holy shit.
About me? I'm not good at staying down.
Okay, sure. Wow.
Who knew there were so many heroes?
This is fucking unplayable. Well, I don't have HP and my ping is so fucking high.
You might want to look out.
Wow. Let me try something with my internet. Maybe that will help, I don't know.
Let's try that again.
Okay, this helped. Holy shit. I can actually play the game now.
They try to knock me down. I have a low center of gravity.
Yeah, taking way too much damage. Holy shit. It's actually playable now.
It's not dented. Up goes the remix.
Damn. I got smacked. Triple kills a hand. Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely.
That's okay. I'm playing the long game.
Oh my god. I'm fucking useless. Can't even go kill him, man. I have no hard steel stacks.
If you're waiting for me to give up, you might be here a while.
Holy shit, I am a useless. I don't really need damage. Go with this one. They're almost all AD, but I feel like these boots are so good.
I'm not good at staying down.
Oh, nice. Shake for carrying. We take those. I have no hard steel stacks. Still. This is gonna be a tough game, man. Okay, I think we are fucked. I feel like we are royally fucked.
Let's try that again.
Oh my god, really? That fucking stunned me? Man, I'm fucking useless. Holy shit. I'm 1 in 6 in 6 minutes. Holy fuck. I've never felt so useless in my whole life.
That's okay. I'm playing the long game. There goes everything.
Fuck me. Enemy triple kill, huh?
One thing about me, I'm not good at staying down.
Fuck. Fuck, I'm so fucking useless, man. 1-8 in 8 minutes. Holy shit. We're gonna lose in 10 fucking minutes.
Make my hammer mad.
Oh, what the fuck am I? I'm legit trolling, man. I'm legit fucking trolling.
Keep fighting.
Now what? I have no HP. Someone sneeze on me, I'm fucking dead. I'm dead, I'm dead. I'm pretty sure I'm dead. Pinball. Bread and cheese. Fuck it. Ooh, I'll take health. I'll take health. I'm good. FF. I mean, I'm kinda down. I'm kinda down. This game is doomed. They fucking rolled over us. I hinted this fucking game so hard.
Three pigtails.
Just I killed this guy. I got 1 kill. We take those. I guess I'll take this for some anti-heal. Do we ever win this? They are kinda inting. Eight 4 Aatrox, 9-5 Jin, 11-5 Zahel. We have 2-8 Poppy, 2-7 Ashe, bro. I didn't even know Ashe was in the fucking game.
Me? The hero? Nah, that's ridiculous.
I'm just a yordle with a hammer. Oh, I'll take this guy's help. Okay, nice. Is he dead? Holy shit, we are coming back. I guess we shouldn't really never surrender.
Shieldy.
I got fucking exhausted. Runs an exhausted ARAM, what the fuck, man. My ult got cancelled, oh my god, oh god. Shaco and Kha'Zix are carrying us hard. They're carrying us hard. Close.
I sure do a lot of walking.
Close, but we are still in this. The fuck is this guy doing?
What's the hurry? Left hand. Hope it's not dented.
What the fuck, man? Oh, we are all completely fucked. It is completely fucked. Fucked. I'm dead. Yeah, there was a little bit of hope, but no more. Shield after removal. I'll just take this, I guess. I guess I'll take this. I don't think it matters. It's gonna finish the game. Holy shit, what a stomp. I feel like this is the worst game of Venom I have ever played.
One thing about me, I'm not good at staying down.
And I've played a lot of games, both bad and good.
Shield to the face.
Man, couldn't even steal a kill. We haven't inhibitor back, so that's something, I guess. Fuck. Should be there. Okay, maybe we are back. Oh, nice. Holy shit, this Shaco is doing so much damage.
Whoa, you went far.
I don't know why the fuck I ulted him. I thought we could maybe
Don't move.
take the tower. Maybe we can actually. Holy shit. We are back.
So does my hammer. Shieldy.
Bro, I got fucking deleted. Need to buy like a spirit visage or some shit as my last item. Echo is doing a lot of damage. And 500, 400 gold. 400 more gold. Tap dancer. Oh, she's dead. She dead.
Let's try that.
Fuck. Can I wait? Can I fucking wait? I can. 56 gold. Okay, big, big, big. We win these boys.
How Demacian of you.
My ult got fucking interrupted again. What the fuck is this guy zooming?
What do you mean my hammer's too big?
Can't touch me. Get off my level.
My ult got interrupted again. I guess we have to wait for these two. Should die maybe, I don't know.
Okay,
Just
I
give up.
admit it. I'm lost.
Okay, this guy killed Jin at least. I flashed for no fucking reason. Like, Ash should have just backed off, maybe, I don't know. It's a weird choice. The fuck is Kha'Zix doing? And Eve gay. Classic. Classic tactic. Classic. Well, I fucked this game up. Shaco and Kha'Zix played great. Got something new here. Loving family emote. Cool. Any news on the set? Nope. I guess I'll play more ARAMs. Katarina, my first main.
Violence solves everything.
Or do I just play Twisted Fate? I guess I'll just play Katarina. It's not really Christmas. Okay, someone left. Classic. Oh, wait. PBE is up. Oh, man. The team is hard at work addressing the issues. Should have an update shortly. It will be one of the two outcomes. Either it will be up in another couple hours or it will be tomorrow. Either way, we will update you when I know something. Oh man, looks like there will be no TFT today. And I really wanted to play some TFT. I really wanted to play some TFT. Even the champions I get on here are kind of mid. Team is hard at work addressing the issues. Fuck it, Cartus. Okay. One of the two outcomes. Either it will end up in another couple hours or it will be tomorrow. It looks like no TFT today. It is looking like there will be no TFT today. Man, that fucking sucks. I really wanted to play some TFT. Man. Man.
Stay safe out there.
10% monetary, I mean, sure.
Noticed anything strange about these new spirit blossoms? I smell a mystery.
80 ability power, I guess. Magic resist. Don't really need a magic resist. I'll just take this. Classic start. Classic dance off. Are we playing now?
I am not smiling. It is
I guess we are playing. Do I need a tier on Cartus? I feel like oh, holy shit, I'm dead. What the fuck? Tariq double kill.
looks like a mountain. In the end, we only regret the chances we didn't take.
At least I got an item. At least there is that.
Beauty is a job well done.
Pop dancer. Don't really need that. Void rift is not bad, I guess. Oh, never mind. Oh, double card assault? That sounds fun as fuck though. Or this. That sounds funnier. Oh, I cannot hit this fucking Q, man. Yeah, I'm doing another assist. Holy shit. What the fuck? Why is Naruto so big already? I don't have mana. I don't have fucking mana, man. Wait, I didn't die? I thought I'm dead. Fuck, maybe I do need that here. I'm burning so much mana spamming this. I don't have ult, man. I don't have ult. I don't have ult. I don't have ult. Any updates?
I'll be right here. Wait.
Oh, how the fuck that hit me, man? How the fuck that hit me? Double ult? You're fucking them up. What the fuck is that? Guess I killed him. Rabadon next, I guess. Rabadon, Void Staff. Train, 4-0 killer. Wait, do I have something that crits? Where the fuck am I on it? No, I don't. I guess I'll just stay in the fucking train.
Did you miss it?
Holy shit, this mastery is fucking insane, man. I feel like I should buy some anti-heal. Rabadon, and then I'll buy the anti-heal item. For Taric and for Trundle and for everyone. Ah, I didn't ult in time. I didn't ult in time. I mean the second ult.
Shake the pillars of heaven.
If things get too scary, my job is always over.
I fucking killed him, of all people. Me.
We must serve right.
What the fuck? This happened? How did he teleport behind me? Did he flash? I didn't see him flash. I need to buy anti-heal. Holy shit, I should have bought anti-heal before Rabadon. I should have bought anti-heal. You almost outplayed him.
Fade and be gone.
Share the magic with
Why didn't I go with fucking... I just wanted to kill the minions.
A wonderful distraction. Keep up.
They are kinda inting, so that's cool.
some mortals fear passing on, but they shouldn't worry.
You buy fucking anti-heal, man. What the fuck is wrong with me? There is something wrong with me. Also, my stream is so fucking lagging. I might just end stream because this is terrible. This is terrible. I play so terribly, man.
Stand against it. Let me show you something. Fight on. Say hello to my little James. So fast.
Bro, the Master Yi killed himself. Oh, we're fucked, man. I just want to play some TFT. I just wanted to play some TFT, and I mean,
Keep an eye out for any mysteries.
I don't know what the fuck is going on, man. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Your team has destroyed an inhibitor.
Holy shit, this master is insane. What the fuck? This Master Yi is fucking insane, man. What the fuck, man? Crazy. Crazy, crazy game. Oh shit, I got a hex tech chest. I got a hex tech chest. Let's see what's in this bad boy. Mel, fuck's sake. Oh man, like what the fuck do I do? I think I'm just gonna end the stream. Like, obviously there is no TFT for the next few hours. And I don't really want to play anything else, so it is what it is. Thanks for watching. Bye.